Greetings and welcome to the Tinfoil Tavern, the cocktail... Greetings and welcome to the Tinfoil Tavern, the cocktail-fueled conspiracy podcast based out of a dinky little kitchen in New Zealand.
Thank you, Two Pump Thomas. This is my co-host, Thomas, although we can call him Patrick because he lives under a rock.
We were meant to do one criticism each. Two Pump Thomas, where'd that come from?
One criticism and one fact.
Which one's the fact?
I'm not telling you.
Rude.
You called my kitchen dinky.
And that's the conspiracy whore of Taranaki, where it's not a real conspiracy unless it requires knee pads, Hannah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So someone who's had like next to no involvement in the planning of this, what's the story with today's cocktails?
So as we previously mentioned, you live under a fucking rock. So we're going to discuss conspiracies with you because you know next to nothing about them. And we're also going to drink cocktails at the same time.
And what are we drinking?
Tonight, it's very relevant. All cocktails are going to be relevant. We're drinking Peach Bellinis.
How is that relevant?
Because it's Princess Diana's favourite cocktail, or at least it was before she died horrifically.
And Princess Diana is related to this because...
Because that's what we're talking about.
You haven't made that clear yet.
You really live up to your name as Patrick.
Give me my drink.
Just grab your own drink.
So what's in this? What's in the... what is it? A peach Bellini.
Yes, it's peach puree topped up with Prosecco. I'll post the recipe on the Instagram for all of our one listeners. Hi, Mum.
And where does your mum find the Instagram page? What you've made the Instagram page?
Yep.
What's it called?
About 2 hours ago.
What's it called?
The Tinfoil Tavern.
The Tinfoil Tavern. Easy. You sipping? Slip close to the mic so everyone can hear you slip.
That's disgusting.
Is it actually?
No, not the cocktail.
Oh.
Slipping it to the microphone.
So you held it closer to your microphone.
It's okay.
It's a little weak.
It's fine.
Yeah, we'll get by.
We can put some gin in it.
Okay. Step it up. It's a good thing we're sharing that recipe because it's mediocre as.
Some people might like it.
Okay.
Some people like Pinot Noir.
Oh. I think it's 10% of our audience. We now have none.
Sorry, Mum. I know you like Pinot Noir. She also drinks Jacob's Creek Moscato.
Stop slamming all our future sponsors.
She's not going to sponsor us.
No, Jacob's Creek's not going to sponsor us.
Oh.
So anyway, how is Princess Diana a conspiracy? Or, sorry, her death is the conspiracy.
Yeah, we're going to decipher that, or you're going to decipher that, because you know absolutely nothing about it. I'm going to tell you all the facts and all the conspiracies, and then you're going to decide whether you believe she was horrifically murdered or not.
Horrifically murdered?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Horrifically.
I'm ready for this. Let's go.
Are you?
Yeah.
All right. So because you actually know nothing at all about Princess Diana or really anything at all.
Oh, Jesus. You're not about to give me a royal family history run through, are you?
Yes.
Is it conspiracy based, or do I have to listen to the whole family history?
Well, not whole family history. We're not going back to the Habsburgs or anything.
Okay, but there's a connection, You're not just boring the shit out of me. Yeah.
I mean, I might do, but we're actually just going to talk about Diana.
Okay, go for it. I'm ready.
Basic.
Yeah.
All right. So, Princess Diana, she wasn't born a princess, obviously. She was born on the 1st of July in 1961 to a Viscount and Viscountess Althorpe.
Sorry, a what? A Viscount?
Yeah, it's a title of nobility.
Okay. So it's not like a duke or a king?
No, it's similar.
Okay.
I mean, it's not obviously a king, but duke is a rank of nobility and Viscount and Viscountess is a rank of nobility.
Okay, so it's no Dracula relation. Okay, sorry.
I mean, there could be.
Oh, okay.
We'll get into that later.
Right, I'm excited for that. But it's going to be way better than Twilight.
I hope so. The bar's pretty low, but
Yeah.
hope so.
Sorry, I interrupted. She is born to...
Well, she was born into nobility.
Okay.
So a lot of people that don't know much about her assume that she was born as a commoner and became a princess, or she did become princess after her marriage, but assume that she became nobility after her marriage. But she was already born to aristocracy, and she became a lady after her grandfather died, which made her father the 8th Earl Spencer. So she was Lady Diana before she met old Charlie Boy.
Right.
She had 2 older sisters, Sarah and Jane, and a brother who died in infancy, and a surviving younger brother who is the current Earl Spencer.
So my knowledge of the royal family and that there can be other royal families without being married into it, that doesn't make sense to me. Do I need to understand this before going into the conspiracy, before we deep diving?
Not really. Her noble birth was important to the royal family in order for Charles to marry her.
Okay. So that... Okay. Right. So, but there are more than one. There's more than one royal family in.
Well, she wasn't until she married Charles. She wasn't in the royal family. She was in aristocracy, which is nobility.
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
Okay, I was crossing nobility with
Royalty.
royalty.
She did have
I do
royal
live under a
lineage.
rock.
You do live under a rock, and she did have royal lineage going back a long time. In fact, she was even related to Charles distantly because, yeah,
Right.
the royals love a bit of inbreeding.
Oh, cool. There goes another sponsor. Yeah.
I don't think the royals were going to
Not
sponsor
now.
us. Her parents split up in '69 when her mother ran off with a wallpaper tycoon.
A wallpaper tycoon.
Yeah.
Is that fact?
It is actual fact.
Because that sounds
Actual
made up.
fact. No.
Oh, but this is
genuinely,
also before she's Princess Diana. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So punching. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you think that sounds stupid, her dad then went on to remarry someone called Rain Leg.
Any relation to Kanye West?
What? Howard?
Like North Star? Like, just sounds like a made up name.
Oh no, I don't think.
What? How?
I don't think Rain Leg is related to Kanye West. But Diana hated her, and they used to call her Acid Rain, which I think is pretty cool as far as names go. If I had a stepkid and they called me something cool like that, I'd
Acid Rain.
Yeah, but it's something relevant to my name, maybe like a good pun. I'd be pretty impressed.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That they hated each other when she was younger, but when she got older, they had a nice close relationship, which is nice.
Oh, that's nice. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Diana first met Charles when Diana was 16.
Oh yeah. How old's Charlie at this time?
At that
Well,
time, he must have been in his late 20s.
Okay.
But do you know how they met?
How?
He was dating her older sister at the time.
Oh, that's good scandal.
It's some tea, right?
Is that actually? Sorry. Once again, fact.
Oh, yeah, actual fact.
So
yeah.
we're not touching on the conspiracy side of
No,
things
not yet at
right,
all.
So everything
Yeah.
you say is fact.
This is all fact.
Okay.
And when I get onto the conspiracy stuff, I'll let you know stuff that I wasn't able to verify and stuff that's hearsay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, this is all fact. All very well publicised.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Charles was dating her older sister Sarah when they first met.
Cradle snatcher.
Yep. It's like me dating you. Not that I do that, obviously. And then you dating, like, Caitlin,
Who is?
my sister.
Who seems like she's 12.
She might listen to this.
She's also pregnant, and not 12. Like just.
She's 22. And it's not by Thomas.
And one of my favourite sisters, by the way.
Yeah. One of his 3 favourite sisters of mine.
Easily in the top 3.
Easily. But him and Sarah didn't end up going the distance. So,
Sarah's the sister.
yeah, Sarah's a sister.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So Charles and Diana started to get close, and they started dating, and they had 13 dates before they got engaged.
Whoa,
Yeah.
man,
You're running
I'm dragging.
quite slow. 4 years and still nothing. What?
There's so much back history behind this that I'm enjoying us not bringing it up. That's very
Sorry.
factual. Carry
I'll
on,
continue.
carry on.
I'll continue. They had 13 dates before they got engaged because, if you like it, then you should have put a ring on it.
Is that for the time? What do you know? What year this was? Ish.
Well, they got married in 1981.
Okay. Is that relatively normal-ish?
Well, ish, but also sort of relevant to Diana's station. So she was 19 and Charles was 32 when they got married.
Oh well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
She was kind of an ideal wife for him, partly because of her age, because she didn't have much of a dating history.
Right.
So she's still a virgin.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
No one really knows. But, no one could prove that she wasn't, because being a virgin is very important as long as you're a female. Charlie Boy could dick around as much as possible, but no one cares about that.
Oh, are we bringing sexist politics into this?
Yes.
Oh, is that part of the conspiracy or just another fact?
No, that's just a fact.
Okay.
Sorry.
Cool.
That's just a fact. So they married at St. Paul's Cathedral, and it was watched by about 750 million people around the world.
Oh, whoa, before no one gave a shit about him.
Well,
He was still important at the time.
He was still the crown prince at the time.
Right, okay. So he's still, yeah.
Yeah. So people were like really interested in the whole relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the virginity thing, it was actually an important factor. So he'd been linked with quite a few other aristocratic young ladies at the time, and
Yeah.
one of them he quite liked, but he had to call it off once newspapers found out that she'd actually had sex with her previous boyfriend.
Is this a, oh man, I wondered how much royal family slandering I should get into.
Just
Is this
do
like
it,
a
bro.
known fact? Like, is this still a current practice?
What do you mean?
It can't be.
Current everything is underpinned by religion and sexism.
What is?
The whole virginity thing.
No, I'm talking about royals requiring virgins, white brides.
I think it
No,
probably
it can't be.
Not so much anymore because
No.
but only recently. Like I think Meghan Markle's probably the only one that's married into it without having to. Because remember, obviously, Prince what's his face was it Prince Edward had to abdicate so he could marry Wallace Simpson. This is back in 20s, 30s.
Oh man, I'm full Patrick. Like some of these names, I don't even know what you're saying. Like I'm really living under a rock here.
All right, so back in the, I think late 20s, early 30s. Timing could be well off, but only by a decade or so. I think it was Prince Edward, but I'm probably wrong on that too. He was crown prince. He was in line to the throne.
Yeah.
He ended up abdicating, which means he gave it up so he could marry Wallace Simpson, who was an American divorcee.
Wallace is a female.
Yes, yeah. Wallace is a female.
That's unfortunate. Yep.
But he had to give up the throne and give it to his younger brother
Yeah.
so that he could marry her because she was a divorcee, so that just wasn't done.
Right. Was
got
she nobility?
No.
Oh, okay. So you just
Yeah.
liked a bit of quality.
Yeah, she probably had the good bands.
Yeah.
So she was experienced.
That's exactly what I was talking about. The banter. Yeah.
Well, and also, like, why slut shame? They know what to do better than someone who's never
That's
been
why I'm
around a
dating
penis
one.
before. Yeah, exactly. Are you dating a slut?
I'm looking at one.
You're looking at one.
I'm looking at one.
So yeah, he married a young virgin of noble birth,
Right.
which was all very, very
So-
well and good.
So we're liking her at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, we're liking her at the moment.
Yeah.
And you're liking her. So Charles is actually. Do you know who Charles is married to at the moment? Like
I
Harold.
want to say chlamydia.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Camilla?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it is. So him and her go way back. She was his first love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
She,
hold on a minute. Is she anything to do with conspiracy? Are we that start?
yeah, not really. Not really.
Okay.
I mean, she's going to be mentioned, but no, she's
Yeah.
not really part of the conspiracy.
Because it'd be great fuel. But
It would be. It would
Okay.
be. But
I'm grasping at straws here.
Alright,
I'm
hang on,
excited
maybe-
to see where this is going. Yeah.
maybe you can make your own conspiracy about Camilla. But no, she was his first love, and they were together before he even met Diana. But he couldn't marry her probably because she was what you call upper crust, but she wasn't nobility, and she most definitely wasn't a virgin. So he was,
Most definitely.
yeah. Like,
Okay.
People knew.
Yeah. All right.
People knew.
People are only fans that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that they were sort of split up. There's actually a rumor that her own father had a hand in splitting Charles and Camilla up for the sake of the monarchy.
Whose father?
Camilla's father. So her
Split
dad.
them up.
Yeah.
Okay. For the sake of the monarchy.
Well, yeah.
You think he'd be all keen for it?
Yeah, but he wasn't.
Another conspiracy.
Another conspiracy.
Yeah, all right.
They're all like bum buddies up there, aren't they? So what he did to split them up, Charles went away for the Navy, and whilst he was away, because he was away for a long time, so Camilla reconnected with an old fling of hers, Andrew Parker Bowles. Girls got to do what girls got to do whilst people are away and doing shit.
Well, he's probably gone for at least 2 nights or something.
At
so
least
she's
2
got
nights.
full excuse. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Girls got needs. So Camilla's own father posted a fake engagement notice in the newspaper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which forced Andrew to propose to her to save everyone from embarrassment.
But I thought you said he split them up.
No, Camilla's father split up Charles and Camilla by tricking Camilla's sort of pseudo boyfriend, like casual thing, into proposing by posting a fake engagement notice that Camilla and Andrew
Right.
had got
okay,
engaged.
so I'm gonna stop you right there for a sec. I'm really Patrick in this one. We've got Charles,
Got Charles,
Camilla,
Camilla,
and Camilla's dad.
Camilla's dad.
That's the 3 people in this conversation.
So far, except we've also added in Andrew, which
And
is Camilla's casual boyfriend.
Okay. So who's Camilla dating?
Andrew.
And then Dad posted a fake proposal
A fake engagement notice
engagement,
in the newspaper that
So
Andrew and Camilla had gotten engaged.
that Andrew and Camilla had gotten engaged.
So then they actually got engaged for realsies.
Yeah.
So that no one was embarrassed.
Oh, and it forced Charles to
Forced Andrew to actually propose to Camilla.
Yeah, sorry, and it forced
Yeah.
Charles to step away because
Yeah,
they're engaged. Right? Okay, cool. With
So
you.
he came. Charles came back from the Navy and found out about the engagement, and apparently it gave him the big sads.
Yeah.
So they reconnected later on, and just before Charles and Diana were due to be married, Diana actually nearly called the wedding off because she discovered a bracelet. that Charles had made for Camilla, well, gotten someone else to make for Camilla. It had the initials of their nicknames on it, so not their actual initials, but their nicknames for each other were Fred and Gladys. And he had a bracelet made for them.
They made bracelets for each other.
We all know that's the sign of a massive slut, so... Yeah, Diana nearly called off the wedding.
Is that because we got each other?
I don't know what you're talking about. It's just a slutty thing to do.
It would be.
Yeah, so they might have even been holding hands or something.
Sorry. Really?
They might
Are
have.
they allowed to hold hands at a royalty level?
I don't think so. It's disgusting on all levels.
No.
It's inappropriate.
Yeah. You're such a prude, babe.
I mean, suck a mean dick, but I'm not going to hold your hand. That's gross.
There goes your mum. The one subscriber we had.
She's like, that's my girl. She's got 5 kids. Come
Runs
on.
the family.
So, Diana nearly called off the wedding for that. But as she famously said in a later interview, at that point, her face was already on the tea towels. So she had to go through with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Sorry, quickly, does a majority of the world just like Charles Stall? Is this pretty public knowledge, or like
This is all, so far, this is all very, very common knowledge.
And
We're
do
not
royal
all
family
Patricks.
fans still like Charles, or do they?
I think his popularity has increased over the recent years.
Since her death.
Sort of even more later than that.
Okay.
So, like, as he got a bit more old and doting grandfather type of persona, I think people like him again. But at this point in time, people
because I
love
know
Diana.
of her kids, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I forget. Well, he's dad, isn't he?
What?
He's dad to William and Harry.
Yeah. He's William and Harry's dad.
Yeah. Okay. And then, all right, grandfather side of it. Yeah, because they've got kids now. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm catching up. Yeah.
Thankfully. But speaking of William and Harry, she popped out William in 1982, and then Harry in 1984. But by 1986, obviously, both the heir and the spare had been produced, so the marriage started to turn to shit, as things do. So
That's nothing unusual. Yeah.
No, I suppose not.
No, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
They'd both started affairs by then.
Oh, both.
Yeah, both.
Public knowledge about Diana?
It was public knowledge a few years after the fact. She did like a tell-all interview that's quite famous.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, imagine having the kahunas to sleep with a princess. Or was it with other royalty?
No. Common guys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well done, common guys.
Mad props.
Yeah.
Mad props.
Yeah, what about him? Was he sticking
Well,
with the princess?
Who, Charles?
Yeah. Oh, he went
he
off
was- he was-
commit.
He was stillborn in Camilla. Yeah,
Right.
He was stillborn in Camilla.
Okay.
And, to be fair to them, it seems like he still loves her quite a lot to this day. They got married eventually.
Yeah, it seems like proper, like, from the BS I watch and read, it sounds like just standard royalty practice.
What, having affairs?
Yeah.
I agree.
Marriage and kids out of necessity for the sake of the monarchy and...
Heir and
yeah.
spare.
Okay. Yeah.
With the girl that came from nobility and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were each knobbing other people. They were...
She was knobbing other people.
She might have been.
Is that the conspiracy?
She might have been. Don't judge.
Diana's got had a dom.
Maybe she just liked to peg them. Maybe it was a strap-on.
Maybe.
You don't know this.
I don't.
We don't judge.
No, I just don't know.
We don't kink shame here.
I'll judge once I have all the facts.
Fine. That's acceptable. They were pretty much separated, but that was not actually public knowledge at the time.
Right.
So they kept it quiet and went to official engagements together and played the happy family in public.
Standard royalty practice.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But in 1992, they actually made their separation official, and it was announced by Parliament, which was unusual, but I guess it was important to the British public. So they split up at that point and had a few years sort of apart, officially separated, and the Queen actually kind of forced them, kind of requested them, kind of told them, but she's a queen, so you're going to have to do what she says, in 1996 to actually get divorced. And
separated but not divorced.
Yeah, so they're separated but not divorced at that point.
Right, yeah.
In 1996, the Queen's like, quit your bullshit, get divorced.
Sort it out, do the paperwork.
Yeah, just get it over with, because everyone, like, their relationships with other people were like very common knowledge, like super common knowledge at that point. So just get divorced.
Right,
Just do it.
Cool.
And she was Diana at that point was in a well-publicised relationship with Dr. Hasnat Khan.
And sorry, just to jump back a smidge, the separation was also very public common knowledge. Like that,
Yeah. So it was
Parliament announced it,
secret at first,
Yeah.
and then in 1992, Parliament announced that they had separated.
Okay.
So then they went their separate ways. So
Right.
between 92 and 96, their individual like flings and stuff weren't secret
weren't
affairs.
juicy gossip. It was
They were
everyone knew their
separated.
splits,
But
yeah,
the Queen's like, you guys are with other people, just
do the paperwork. Yeah,
just
cool.
get on with
Right.
it. Just get on with it. So Diana was in a relationship with Dr. Hasnat Khan, who was a cardiac surgeon who...
Khan.
Yeah.
No.
Why?
No, Star Trek reference. Sorry, don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Nerd.
Yeah.
Fucking nerd.
Massive whore. Sorry.
He seems like a good dude, actually.
Khan.
Yeah. Most of the dudes that she'd been with seemed like dickheads. So she had quite a few affairs, and most of them went on to, tell her story for money and things like that.
Yeah.
And he's the only person who, up until this point, has never actually said anything about her.
Okay.
He
Cool.
just kept it quiet.
Yeah.
He seemed like a good guy. He was a surgeon, and she apparently, well, the few things we do know about the relationship is that she loved spending time in his flat like a normal person and did his dishes and folded his laundry and stuff. And she said that he was the love of her life.
Nice.
But they split up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How come?
I don't know.
Okay.
She didn't tell me.
Okay.
Shortly after that, because the rebound game is pretty strong here, I guess, she started dicking around with Dodi Al-Fayed. Have you heard that name?
No.
You haven't heard that name?
No. Say it again.
Dodi Al-Fayed.
No. Al Dodi.
Dodi Al-Fayed.
Okay.
So he was the son of the Egyptian billionaire Mohammed
Oh,
Al-Fayed.
yeah.
You don't actually know it all, do you?
No, not at all, but
Yeah.
money.
Okay.
So I understand that.
Okay.
Yeah, whore's money. Yeah, you know.
But you've heard of Harrods?
No.
What?
No idea.
Harrods.
They make like sauce or something.
It's a shop in London.
And
Harrods.
are we at the opposite side of the world? We're on
Everyone knows what Harrods is.
what do they sell?
Everything.
So they're like the Kmart of... Like Kmart, or
That's-
just groceries, or just clothes, or everything?
Everything. It's deeply offensive. They sell everything.
I don't know if it's deeply
No,
offensive.
it's like it's Harrods. How
Never
would you
heard of
express an institution?
Are they in New Zealand?
No.
Are they in Australia?
No.
Are they in the Southern Hemisphere?
Why would they be?
How am I expected to know about them?
Because it's like, well, probably the most famous shop in the world.
No,
Apart
it's
from
not
Woolworths.
Starbucks. Well, there we go. We just named two other that are more famous.
Harrods is better though.
Okay.
You know, Harrods has got like a department where they can get you unusual, rare objects and things like exotic pets and shit.
We'll kill a man for you if you want.
I mean, they probably fucking would.
Really?
Probably.
It's like
probably.
Bed Bath and Beyond.
Probably. What Bed Bath and Beyond are you going to?
Well, you can go to the back room and organise stuff.
The one at the Valley? Is it that one?
Oh, wait, no location shaming.
Shit. I gotta go there.
Why? Who do you need to kill? No, different conspiracy.
Okay, yeah, different conspiracy. So, yeah, Mohammed Al-Fayed, Dodi's father, Egyptian billionaire, used to own Harrods. Mm-hmm. We won't get into that. And also the hotel...
Is that another conspiracy? Does
No,
Harrods
no,
really
no,
exist?
No. Yeah, it does exist. It's
Sorry,
not,
carry on.
It's
I'm
not like
distracting you.
Iceland, which
Yeah.
doesn't exist. And Mohammed also owned the Hotel Ritz in Paris. Have you heard of the Ritz
I've
Hotel?
heard of the Ritz, yeah.
Okay, thank God. So the Ritz Hotel in Paris, he owned at that point,
Mhm.
at this relevant point in the story. So Dodi and Diana have been dating a couple months, not long. Like I said, rebound from old Hasnet. And on Saturday, this is where we start to get into the evening in question. On Saturday, the 31st of August, 1997, Diana and Dodi arrived in Paris and went to the Ritz. At around 7 p.m, they left the Ritz to go to Dodi's residence, hung out there for a bit, and at about 9:50 p.m, they arrived back at the Ritz for dinner. They'd originally had reservations elsewhere, but had to cancel because there's a whole bunch of paparazzi around. There was a rumor that Dodi was about to propose, so they had like a lot of
So
extra.
paparazzi were going
Yeah, they
nuts
had
at the
like.
time.
I mean,
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
already the most famous woman in the world.
I do. So I remember this making the news, and I remember paparazzi at the time, and for a while afterwards, were just for the other side of the world where we live. Like they were making paparazzi in general were making the news a lot. Like just hated, like nearly blamed for.
Well, they initially were blamed.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't until the inquest that they were not blamed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had to cancel reservations at a different restaurant, and they ended up going back to the Ritz. And this is absolutely not relevant at all, but Diana ordered the sole, the veg tempura, a mushroom and asparagus omelette. What? I love food.
Are we going to do a food podcast as well?
I mean, maybe.
We could do.
I'm just saying, like,
Yeah,
it came up
sorry.
what she ate.
No, keep telling me. I'm interested. We haven't had dinner yet.
I didn't actually. He had turbot, apparently, which is not very interesting.
Is that a fish?
Yeah. It's both fish, but...
Right.
I don't know, veg tempura, a mushroom and asparagus omelette with fish. So it's sort of an
Omelette
interesting...
for dinner?
Yeah, it's more of a breakfast food, but
Yeah,
maybe it
what
was
I
a real
would've
fancy fucking omelette.
Maybe.
Like ostrich or something. Or...
Well, I think it says what type of omelette it was.
No, it was in the eggs, you dumb shit.
Oh, ostrich egg, sorry. But
Yeah.
you think that would still be in the
Neither
description,
mushrooms-
you dumb shit. Jeez.
Neither mushrooms nor asparagus lay eggs.
No, but you think it was said an ostrich omelette.
Do you know what does lay eggs?
What?
Platypuses.
Okay.
What?
Nothing. That was like, okay.
I was just interested about that.
Okay.
Because
Do you want to do an amphibian podcast?
they're not amphibians.
What are they?
Mammals. That's why it's interesting that they lay eggs.
Sorry, right. Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ, Patrick.
What's your language?
Sorry, Mum. Oh, she doesn't care. Sorry, Dad. So, yeah, Diana ordered this stuff that we won't go into again.
Yeah.
The platypus omelette. Just after midnight, they decided to go back to Dodie's residence for reasons unknown, because they had a suite at the Ritz, but they decided to go back to his flat anyway. Not sure why.
It's nice just to go home, love your own bed kind of thing. I can understand.
I mean, it's Dodie Al Fayed, one of his many residences. I don't think it was his permanent residence. It was just a place that he owned in
Maybe
Paris.
save it from the paparazzi.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they had to leave the Ritz to go back to his place.
Oh,
Whereas
some more exposure to the paparazzi.
more exposure.
Right, okay, weird. Yeah. Very mysterious, yeah.
I mean, ish. Not the most mysterious out of
I'm
everything.
pretty sure that's going to be the most outrageous thing I hear tonight.
I haven't seen a dick yet.
Silence.
So they leave out.
So hold on a minute. How are you going to hear my dick?
It goes like this. Boing.
I mean, we make direct eye contact. You know what makes a quality podcast? Prolonged silence and inappropriate sexual tension.
It's not sexual tension.
What is it?
I don't know.
Oh,
It's not sexual tension.
okay. As your cocktail.
That silence was me taking a drink. Should we get back to this?
Boing. Yeah, carry on.
So anyway, they leave out the back door just after midnight of the Ritz.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like the back door.
No, I didn't say anything.
No, I did. They
Another silence. Yeah, okay.
So 4 people leave out the back door to get into a car. This was obviously Diana, Dodie, her boyfriend, Henri Paul, the driver. Henri is fancy for Henry, and Trevor Reese-Jones, the bodyguard. They all get into a black Mercedes. I think it was an S280, just in case Luke's listening, so they can drive back to Dodie's residence. So one of the first bits of weirdness.
Quick little pre-question, sorry, before you jump into that.
Sure,
Whose
sure.
bodyguard? Hers or his? Or
His.
His.
Yeah, his bodyguard.
Okay. I seem to remember something about the bodyguard, but anyway, carry on.
So Trevor Reese-Jones worked directly. Well, he actually worked directly for Mohammed Al Fayed, Dodie's dad,
Right.
but by
Yeah,
extension,
cheaper if you don't pay, yeah.
yeah, by extension, Dodie. So Trevor Reese-Jones is his bodyguard.
Right.
So they all leave the Ritz, and they decide to. Well, obviously, they drive back to Dodie's residence, and for reasons unknown, Henri Paul decides to take a slightly different route back to Dodie's residence.
What? Sorry. What? Like that sounds like it's a little bit of weirdness.
It is a bit. It is a bit.
So what was so weird about the route?
Well, there are other routes that made more sense.
More direct.
More direct. So there was another route that was more direct, but apparently you can get a bit congested with traffic. So it doesn't.
Because that's my first
Yeah.
As the skeptic in me just wants to go with traffic, but
Yeah.
carry on. Yeah.
So it was a known reason for drivers to avoid that route. There's not much reason for them to take the tunnel, the Pont de Alma tunnel, as opposed to a certain slip road that was pretty quiet and was a more direct route. So they took the tunnel for reasons unknown.
Okay.
But that's not overly important at the moment.
Yeah. For those that can hear the sound of a page turning, it's because Hannah's written a whole ream of notes and research here. This is
It's only about 8, 10.
reams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so they decided to take the tunnel.
Yeah, so Henri Paul decided to take the tunnel.
Okay, I'm sure they didn't object.
No, I'm sure that they didn't care at all. And at about 12:23 a.m., they collided with a concrete pillar. The paparazzi that were following them, who, as you mentioned before, were kind of blamed for this, but later found to be not guilty. The paparazzi were the first on the scene, and they did call emergency services and attempted to help the car. Also,
and took photos. Yeah.
By the time the emergency services got there, when the police arrived, they rounded all the paparazzi they could up and arrested them immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's nice.
That is nice. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. They did attempt to help everyone in the car. And a doctor who just happened to randomly be driving by stopped for assistance to help out as well. He immediately noticed that Dodie and the driver were dead, so he didn't bother with trying to help them, or he gave his attention to Diana. So at this point, Diana is not dead at this point. Dodie and the driver Henri Paul, they're pretty much assumed dead on an impact because no one's wearing seatbelts. The driver is pretty much, Henri Paul, the driver, has pretty much got the steering wheel embedded in his chest, and Dodie was directly behind his seat, and he flew forwards into the driver,
right,
which would have smushed them all up.
And bodyguard was in the passenger seat.
Yeah, and directly in front of Diana. So Diana and Dodie were in the back seats.
Yeah, but those two are fine. Left hand.
Well, they're not. Trevor, they're not fine.
Defines it,
yeah, they both got massive injuries. Trevor's obviously Trevor Reese-Jones. He's got injuries, but at that point he was conscious.
Yeah.
So the doctor.
Can I quickly? So when they hit this pillar, straight on, or the right hand side, left hand side?
Well, no one actually knows.
They don't know what side they hit the pillar on.
Well, they know that it clipped the pillar, and the first responders on the scene, the car had actually spun around and it was facing back to, facing back.
I'd assume there'd be a big dent in one part of the vehicle.
One side was crashed,
right.
all crashed up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But we'll get more onto the crash in a little second.
Right, okay.
Because that's all full of oddness.
Mm-hmm.
Conspiracy, you might say.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. So this is all just like the facts of the case up to now.
Yeah. I see. Yeah.
So the doctor is trying to help Diana because no one else is. Trevor Reese is pretty stable. The other two are dead as a doornail. So who cares about them? Emergency. What?
Nothing about you being cold-hearted. Carry on.
No, that's like a triage situation. What's the point in trying to help someone who's already dead?
No one cares about them?
Well, in terms of, trying to. Anyway. So emergency services turns up.
Yeah.
And Diana has to get a chainsaw has to...
Jaws of life?
No, not Jaws of life. Chainsaw, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, because she's trapped in the back. Well, it says chainsaw and all the documentation I saw. What's the difference between chainsaw and Jaws of life?
Jaws of life are like big scissors, I think.
Big scissors.
Yeah, real mechanical, slowly cut. Where chainsaws just for sparks and ripping.
Yeah, no, I know what a chainsaw is. So it's not just a fancy word for chainsaw.
No, as far as I'm aware, Jaws of life are like big mechanical scissors.
Does this cocktail taste like Barocca to you?
It tastes like Prosecco.
I think it tastes like Barocca.
I think we've had very different Barocca.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Diana's cut out the car.
Yeah.
Diana is injured but conscious at this point.
Yeah.
They attempt to stabilise her before getting her to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
En route, she suffers cardiac arrest. Heart attack to you.
Yep.
So they stop the ambulance again to try and stabilise her. They eventually arrive at a hospital at about 2 a.m. and Diana is taken in for emergency surgery, but is ultimately unsuccessful and she's pronounced dead at 4 a.m.
Grim start.
Yeah, grim start.
Yeah.
Grim start.
Yeah.
At 6 p.m. that day, her body is collected by Prince Charles and Diana's sisters, Lady Jane and Lady Sarah, and taken back to England.
The same day?
The same day. Much later. This was died at 4 a.m. and this is 6 p.m. So
okay,
not like 2 hours later.
I haven't had a lot of experience with that. Like, sorry, is that not weird? Just for it sounds like royalty turning up and collecting a body sounds weird.
It is a little bit weird, the timing of it, and they did a lot of things prematurely. But I guess if you're going to be fair,
you can be pretty forgiving when you're quite emotional. Yeah,
it's not. I don't think it's emotions.
Sorry, Charles collected it.
Yeah, Charles collected it.
Ex-husband Charles.
Ex-husband Charles.
Is this part of the conspiracy?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not.
Okay, that sounds not.
It's still. I mean, it's still the mother of his children.
Oh, yeah.
And when they divorced, she still kept or she didn't keep her princess title, but she still kept a royalty title because she was the mother to the crown princes.
Right.
So it makes sense for Charles to go and collect her.
Okay.
So that's nothing unusual, I don't think.
Okay.
Him and his sisters went to get her, took her body back to England, where her body was examined by the British doctor there, and 6 days later her funeral. Pronounced dead.
Again.
Yeah. And 6 days later, her funeral was held at Westminster Abbey and was watched by about 2.5 billion people worldwide.
She was a love lady.
To this day, I believe it was the most watched televised event in history and still is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. A lot of people liked her. Her burial was done privately on the same day. She was buried at the Althorpe estate, which, if you remember, it was the Spencer family home.
I didn't watch it.
No, because I literally talked about the Althorpes like 6 minutes ago.
That who? What site?
The Althorpes. Her family.
I didn't know their name.
I did, because I literally said Viscount and Viscountess Althorpe.
Oh, I was focused on
that.
the Viscount side of it. I didn't remember Sorry. Yeah, okay.
Anyway.
So it's buried at family estate.
Buried at the family estate.
Right.
In the middle of an ornamental lake. And that concludes all the factual shit. Inquest, however, which happened over a decade later, because they had to wait for... That's not dodgy, I don't think. They had to wait for the French, because it happened in France, obviously. Mm-hmm. They had to wait for all the French inquiries to finish first. And these things actually take quite a while.
Right, okay.
So the British inquest happened a decade later. And the British inquest laid all the blame. And this was by a jury and everything.
Sorry, have you completely skipped over who the French inquest blamed? Is that known? Like, do you know?
Well, the French inquest initially blamed the paparazzi.
Oh, French did paparazzi.
Yeah.
And British... sorry, I interrupted.
But there is a lot of in between, which isn't overly relevant. So I did skip over it a little bit. They also blamed the driver and stuff, which ultimately the British inquest laid all blame on the driver and said that the paparazzi weren't to blame because the paparazzi were following too far behind to actually cause the accident. So the British inquest decided that the paparazzi were not to blame, and that all blame... The jury verdict was unlawful killing, laid entirely to blame at on Honoré Paul, the driver, who's also dead, so whatever. But that's what the British inquest found, that he was negligent, drunk, speeding.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Drunk.
Oh yes, apparently. We'll get into that.
Okay.
We'll get into that.
Okay.
So that was the official line. At that point, everyone was blaming the paparazzi.
Yeah.
But even well before the British inquest happened, pretty much overnight, conspiracies immediately started popping up that it was a planned murder. This was partly because of like inconsistent and strange witness statements, and just a whole bunch of inconsistencies and weirdness about the night, which obviously we're gonna get into all of that. So there was one of the most famous aspects of the conspiracy, and it blows my mind that you actually know nothing about this.
Well, I might do. Maybe you'll trigger a memory.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If I say the word white Fiat Uno.
Nah, nothing.
Right. Okay. So that's one of the major sticking points here. So apparently there was.
Sorry, you're going to explain what?
The white Fiat Uno. It's one of the major. Well, one of the aspects of the conspiracy was the presence of a white Fiat Uno.
I assume an Uno is a type of Fiat.
Yes, it is. Just a little crappy one.
Right.
Yeah.
There goes Fiat as a sponsor. Yep.
There goes. Some of the later models of other cars, which I can't...
From different brands we love.
I can't name a single Fiat. No, I can actually.
Yeah.
My first car ever was a Fiat. Thank you, Fiat.
Did you love it?
Yeah, I named him Calvin.
Did you love it?
I loved him.
Oh, yeah?
He was a Fiat Cinquecento. He was 89 cc's.
What?
89 cc's.
No, surely not.
I shit you not. You can Google it. It was what was it? 1992? No, that was my Mazda. 1988 or 89. I think it was older than me. Fiat Cinquecento in royal blue, but you couldn't spell Cinquecento.
No, it sounds racist to do so.
It's Italian.
That's confusing my racism, but carry on.
Still racist there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of aspects to the conspiracy. So the
Sorry to interrupt. Do we Can we stop drinking these cocktails?
You can drink anything else. There's beer.
There's beer.
There's wine.
For those that are following the recipe along at home, we'd love to actually hear of a better suggestion.
Maybe I fucked it up.
Maybe.
Like I'm gonna post the recipe, but I followed a recipe online and it was basically puree peaches with some lemon juice and sugar. I left out the sugar because I don't like things that are too sweet. And
I didn't find it overly sour.
No, I don't think it was. I don't think it needed sugar.
No, neither do I. The peach juice was enough. Yeah.
And then top up with prosecco or champagne or your chosen sparkling wine.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It tasted like Barocca to me.
And what's the title of it? A peach.
A peach Bellini.
Peach Bellini.
So the difference between a Bellini and a mimosa, because you'd be forgiven for thinking that they're very similar, and they are. But a mimosa is usually orange juice topped up with sparkling wine,
Right.
whereas a Bellini is fruit puree topped up with sparkling wine.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was not that great, but maybe it just wasn't our taste. I'm
Maybe.
sure. I mean, are we saying that Princess Diana had terrible taste in alcoholic beverages?
Was that the purpose behind the drink? Did I miss that at the start?
I literally said that at the
Or did
start.
my starfish brain forget that? Right. Okay.
Yeah, Patrick,
No, I recall you saying that now. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
jolly
Yeah,
good.
she had terrible taste in drinks, maybe.
Well, apparently she didn't actually drink that much alcohol, so obviously she's got terrible taste.
Can't argue with that.
Can't argue with that. Anyway, conspiracies. So the conspiracies immediately sprang up. This was a planned murder. Part of these reasons were because, and there's a few reasons,
Yeah.
strange witness statements. We'll get into that. Don't worry.
Are you about to bullet point off that?
Yeah, I'm just bullet pointing some
Right.
of the reasons. Unusual behaviour by the driver. Again, we'll get to that.
He was drunk. But
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Yeah.
we'll get to
see.
that.
Yeah. Whoa.
The infamous missing car, the Fiat Uno, which was a shitty Fiat, but the Fiat Cinquecento, unparalleled, fantastic car. I wish I still had it. It was fantastic.
Thanks for your sponsorship, Fiat.
Thank you, Fiat. We love you. Odd decisions regarding her dead body, her corpse, and of course her famous letter to her butler a year prior, stating that Charles was planning to kill her by way of a car accident.
Well, you say famous, but I have heard nothing of that.
Okay, but
What?
it is
Yeah.
an actual fact. This is not part of the conspiracy.
Right. Should this be
is-
mentioned in the facts section of the show?
Well, we're still sort of like halfway between. We haven't put on our first layer of tinfoil yet,
Okay.
so we're still sort of
But
getting
that's
into
still,
conspiracies.
that feels like a letter sent to the...
Yeah, but I think when you say conspiracy, that's like sometimes it's unverifiable. The letter is actually a thing that happened, like actually did.
And
Genuinely.
my point being, it should have been in the factual part of the
We're
show.
still sort of halfway in the facts, but we're now just getting into
I
why
remember
people.
a public service announcement not long ago saying that's the end of the facts. We're now diving into the conspiracy side of it.
I don't think. Did I state it as a public service announcement?
You didn't say that, but it was along that line.
You've got to state it, like
Can you please
bankruptcy.
carry on?
Anyway, Mohammed Al Fayed,
Yep.
Dodi's father, because I know you got a memory like a sieve, is one of the most vocal speakers that this was actually a conspiracy, that it was a murder. So Dodi's own father is that like one of the biggest driving forces behind the conspiracy. He insists that it was a cover up, it was a murder.
Okay, cool.
He insisted
cool.
it was.
Yeah.
And he's spent decades now. It's been, how long has it been? 1997. You do the math, sweet. At least 2 years,
Sorry, it was 1997?
when she died. So how long is it? Like 20,
16.
What, 16? That's not right.
26.
26 years.
Yeah.
So he's
I'll
spent,
chuck an extra 10 on there just to make sense. Yeah.
yeah,
What year are we in?
22? Oh shit, that's a pizza.
So for those listening at home, that's the sound of Hannah ordering pizza, which is why we love her, but we're going to take a quick break as we eat some pizza and be back in just a moment. I shouldn't actually say for those listening at home, because you're allowed to listen to this anywhere, but it was tasty pizza.
It was. Thank you. I made it myself.
You ordered it yourself.
Yeah. Same diff.
Stop the BS. Where are we up to? What's happening?
We were discussing that Dodi's father, Mohammed Al Fayed,
Was the biggest advocate for it being a murder.
he was.
Right.
That he was. So apparently, and this is from what Muhammad has alleged all these, is it 26 years we said?
Yep.
All this time, is that Dodi and Diana told him themselves, days before the accident, that Diana was pregnant and that her and Dodi were about to get engaged. So that is one of the big bases of the conspiracy, that Diana was actually pregnant and she was about to get engaged to Dodie, and that's why they may have bumped her off. We'll get to that bit.
Because that sounds all very believable so far. Like, I have no issues with... I'm no tinfoilness about that so far.
Okay, well, yep.
From a Patrick's perspective.
Yep. All right. Yep. She, on the rumour that she was pregnant about to get engaged, there's not much other basis to it.
Other than his word.
Okay. Although she did call a journalist who was also a friend of hers, his name was Richard Kay, back in the UK, that she wanted to speak to him when she got back to tell him something important. But of course, no one knows what that important thing was.
So there's no medical professional that knows of this pregnancy, just her word to him, well, his word from her, apparently.
Correct.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, no, I'm just solidifying facts. Or
that's fine.
Speculative facts before we dive into it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So we're still on that sort of in between of fact and conspiracy at the moment.
They're just getting a little blurry.
We haven't put on any tinfoil yet.
Yeah.
But now is I guess in the court of law would call hearsay.
Okay.
So we'll go into some witness statements.
Okay. Yeah.
So there were a lot of witnesses in the British inquest. I think they had like at least 100 witnesses that may have seen the just before or just after the accident, things like that. So a lot of witnesses go through. But one of the more infamous witnesses was a Francois Levistre, which is fancy for Francois Levistre. He made multiple statements.
Thanks,
Patrick. He made multiple statements, as in he first spoke to the French inquest, and he also spoke at the British inquest. Okay. Some of them were contradictory, but
some of his statements were
in
a radical way.
In a radical way. So we'll
get to that.
He is behind. He was the main person behind one of the big theories, which of course you don't know about, of the bright flash of light theory.
So were his contradictions radical?
In a way, they were contradictory. He was behind one of the big conspiracies that was a bright flash of light that caused Henri Paul to crash.
Oh, okay.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
But later on, he didn't. Well, he said that he might have been incorrect on that. So in the French Inquisition, he said that there was a bright flash of light, and then later on, he said that he wasn't sure if he could categorically say that there was and things. And also his background, and you shouldn't put much into this, I guess, in a court of law, because you're not supposed to bring people's background into it, but his background is a petty, dishonest criminal who had lied to the police many times before and been in a lot of trouble. So people didn't put much stock in his statement.
Okay. That doesn't mean he can't be telling the truth.
No, exactly.
I'm always going to go devil's advocate, but yeah.
So we'll go. His statement was that he saw the Mercedes enter the tunnel, and he was with his wife. So the fact that he was actually in the tunnel, that's true. He was in or near the tunnel at a point in time with his wife. His wife later refused to testify at the British Inquisition.
Is the fact that he has a dishonest background factual, or...?
Yes.
Right.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. So Francois testified that he saw the Mercedes enter the tunnel, and then a motorcycle overtook it, and then a blindingly bright flash was directed towards the Mercedes from the back of the motorbike.
Camera flash.
Possibly a camera flash, although he insists that it was
more
far too bright to be a camera flash. He says it was absolutely blinding.
Is he a photographer?
I do not know if he's a photographer. I do not think he is a photographer.
Absolutely blinding. Okay, I'm going to take some... Yeah,
okay, that's cool. There were other witnesses who said that there were camera flashes, but this was apparently disorientating. But it's all right. We'll get into the...
We'll get in there?
We'll get into the bright light. Into the bright light.
Yeah. So
he said that a motorcycle overtook the Mercedes, the bright light flash happened from the back of the motorbike, after which the obviously the Mercedes crashed not long after this. And then once the Mercedes crashed, the motorbike driver dismounted, got off the motorbike.
Giggles, far out.
Looks into the car.
This is why you got the introduction you got. Off.
This is why you still hung around me despite the fact that you're my ex.
This is why your dad no longer subscribes to our podcast.
Thanks, Dad. It was a good 5 minutes. That's never what I said.
You've never gone for 5 minutes?
You've never gone for 5 minutes.
Never needed to. I'm that potent.
We're discussing horrific murder.
Okay.
So This motorcycle driver gets off, fuck's sake, looks into the back of the car, and he makes an X symbol with his arms. So, like, holds his arms over his chest, because Thomas can see me gesticulating, and obviously you cannot. And apparently that's a symbol in boxing that says that the opponent is down or something. I'm not sure. It might be. Someone can correct me if that's not true. So he makes this X symbol, and then, like, aims his arms down towards the ground, towards the other person. Then they get back on the motorcycle and speed off.
Okay, and this was according to Dodgy.
This was according
history.
to this is not fact. This is according to a witness statement from a dodgy person. So I'll always say when it's said, when it's disputable, when it's a bit suspect.
Well, I also have a memory like a sib, so I'm going to keep questioning everything.
Yeah. And that's fine. Please do so. So Francois, obviously a little bit of an unreliable narrator in terms of witness statements, petty criminal background.
I'm going to give him a little grain of salt and say the media has portrayed him as an unreliable narrator, but we'll carry on.
You're thinking like a conspiracy theorist.
No, I'm just anti-media, but carry on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which we're now a part of, but carry on.
Well, to back you up on that, some of what he said was backed up by an allegation made by an ex-soldier who doesn't have a name. Well, I'm sure he does have a name. He's only known in the press as Soldier N.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Soldier N, he didn't directly testify, and this allegation is actually quite roundabout. So apparently he was a bit of a loose cannon, and him and
soldier.
The soldier, Soldier N.
Yep.
And there's a letter written by his wife's parents, so his in-laws, because they were concerned about his behaviour and threats towards his wife, their daughter. So they actually wrote a letter to his commander, speaking about the threats that he'd made to his ex-wife, about his ex-wife. So a lot of the letter is actually quite irrelevant. But the basis of the letter in terms of the inquest, apparently he'd told his wife, or ex-wife at that point, that the Diana was a murder ordered by the SAS.
And sorry, he's a witness.
No, Soldier N's letter was entered into evidence.
Oh.
Soldier N was never a witness, and we don't know his real name. Apparently, he's still alive and well.
But his letter is factual.
Yeah.
Like, his letter was definitely...
The letter's factual.
Yeah.
Whether the contents are factual, we don't know. But
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But apparently he's alive and well, and now living... where is he? I think he's living in Herefordshire at the moment, according to my most recent
Which
Googlings.
is in the Northern Hemisphere.
It is, well done. And he is still affiliated with the army.
Okay.
So, anyway, this letter was sent to his commanding officer at the SAS. The relevant bits, everything else was redacted for the Inquisition because it wasn't relevant, it was personal. But the relevant bits were that he told his ex-wife that Diana was murdered by order, or to order, by the SAS using the bright light technique. Which...
Oh, man, I'm jumping on board with this.
Oh,
I'm not saying I believe it, but it sounds exciting. Carry on.
It's some tea. It's some tea.
Yeah.
So the bright light technique...
For those wondering, tea is a form of gossip when you're Hannah.
I think everyone else knows that.
Maybe if you're British.
No, I think it's like a young person thing, and I'm very young.
You are. Like, what are you, like 23,
At
24
least,
max?
minimum.
Yeah.
Maximum. I'm 33. The same age that Jesus died,
Oh, okay.
apparently.
Right. Or did he?
Or did... Ooh.
You can chuck that on the list?
We'll get into that.
Every podcast.
So the bright light technique apparently is a technique used to combat terrorists.
So I'm just going to make a quick connection here. So Soldier N, see the bright light technique.
Yeah.
And Mr. Dodgy Background, I can't remember his name, sorry.
Francois Levistre.
Francois.
I'm probably butchering that pronunciation
That's
terribly.
fine. And he said he saw a bright light.
He saw a bright light.
And there's no publicly acknowledged known connection between those two. Soldier
Correct.
N and him.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Correct.
So a nice little bit of connection.
Intrigue?
Yeah,
Bit of intrigue?
My
Yep.
eyebrows have raised. Yeah, yeah.
Both of them or just one?
No, I went double.
Oh, you can't do one eyebrow at a
No,
time.
I'm not the Rock.
I
or
can,
you.
I
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah.
Just saying. So the bright light technique is apparently it was developed for use oh, your British history is shit, but apparently it was developed for the IRA, well, against the IRA, for car bombs, dismantling car bombs, or people driving car bombs to crash the car so that they couldn't get to their intended target.
And when you say dismantling car bombs, so I'm disabling the driver?
Disabling the driver, sorry.
Okay,
yes.
yep.
I was not very clear there.
Right.
Disabling the driver so they couldn't get to their intended destination.
Yeah, causing them to crash into a concrete pillar and kill all half passengers.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Soldier N was supposed to testify at the inquest based on the contents of the letter. He skipped the country before the inquest, so he didn't testify.
I don't have an issue with that from what I've seen from movies. Especially if you're something in a secret related activity. A bit of publicity is shit for going undercover. So that sounds like an easy way to, I can keep working if I just skip the country. Boom, no one really knows who I am. I'm not finding that dodgy if all that is true. You may carry on.
Okay, thank you for your permission now. Another supporter of the bright light theory is someone called Richard Tomlinson. He's a Kiwi born.
Oh, yeah?
Represent. Former British spy who reported that this was, the bright light technique, was the basis of a plot to kill the former Serbian president Slobodan Milosevic. Try saying that when you're drunk.
Slobber on my... Never mind.
No, thank you.
Oh.
At the inquest, a former head of MI6 actually did confirm that this was considered a method to assassinate an unidentified Balkan president. So probably Slobodan.
Yeah.
Obviously, the name wasn't reported.
Okay, sorry, I'm a lot of names. Let me a little Patrick Starfish brain catch up for a sec. So who's confirming this?
So an ex-head of MI6.
So a Kiwi that was...
No, that's
sorry,
a
he's
different
now
person.
Kiwi. Okay.
No. So Richard Tomlinson.
Yeah.
The head of the ex-head of the MI6 that testified at the inquest is not named.
Yep.
Richard Tomlinson is... Well, they reckon he's a bit of a rogue. He's not in the MI6 anymore. He was a Kiwi born.
But he definitely was in the MI6.
He definitely was.
Yeah.
Former British spy who said that this was an actual method used.
He confirmed that the bright light technique was an actual method.
Yeah, and he said that when he saw how Princess Diana had died, it reminded him of the file that he'd seen on an assassination plot to kill Slobodan Milosevic.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wanted to kill him. Maybe he was dodgy.
No,
I don't know.
Matter. Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
So at the inquest, obviously, because they had lots of clever people testify. And
sorry, you're laughing because you mean batshit crazy?
No, I don't mean batshit crazy. I was laughing because I completely forgot the word for industry expert. So the ex-head of MI6 was not one of these batshit crazy people. It was actual ex-head of MI6 who was there to take the stand in a very legitimate way.
People, not Greg from the street.
Yeah. Not Slobodan or Francois.
He's a real person.
Yeah, but obviously he was dodgy.
Yeah.
But the MI6, this ex-head of MI6, confirmed that it was considered a potential way to assassinate old Slobodan. Well, he didn't say Slobodan, obviously.
It's a real technique.
An unidentified Balkan president, but didn't end up being carried out. So we've got a couple of people saying that this was an actual way of assassination, and someone claiming that they saw this happen in the tunnel. And apparently the whole bright light technique, it needs a tunnel or some kind of enclosed space to actually work.
I can understand that. For contrast, you need a dark enough environment so the brightness seems incredibly bright.
What you say sounds plausible. I will not argue.
Okay.
So before we talked about the white Fiat Uno, thank you Fiat, we love you. A couple who were in the tunnel near the time of the crash testified seeing a white Fiat Uno driving erratically away from the tunnel, and it appeared as though the exhaust pipe was damaged, and apparently it was making dodgy noises, etc.
So just to make sure, we know nothing else about this white Fiat Uno, right?
Not yet, but we will
Yep.
soon find out.
Oh, okay.
We will soon find out all about the white Fiat Uno.
Right.
Yeah. So initially, very early on, this was dismissed as incorrect. Witness statements are notoriously suspect. Not because witnesses are dodgy, but because people's brains just don't work that well.
Yeah. And so just to confirm, is this from the British or the French inquest?
Both.
Oh, okay. So it was done initially and a year later.
So when I
Right.
say early on, this was very early on the French inquest. They
Right.
initially dismissed the reports of this white Fiat Uno behaving erratically.
Because I could definitely understand, like, a year later, like, the way people remember it and want to remember it, and memory, human brain just made a mess. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely. But at the time, and this is very early days when they had dismissed it, but in the preceding weeks afterwards, obviously they did all the forensic testing on the Mercedes, and there was a big old patch of white paint, and they tested it, and test actually to confirm that they were able to tell what car it came from, because the paint was very specialized and it was used by Fiat for a certain, apparently this is actual fact.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I've ordered very specific paints before for touching up cars and stuff, so I understand.
Well, this isn't even a conspiracy, but it was actually in the official inquest that it would have come from a Fiat Uno in the years between 1980 something and 1980 something else.
Right.
So this is an actual fact. It's not
quite
conspiracy,
specific.
but yeah. The French police were able to tell, obviously, that the Fiat Uno would have been within a certain vicinity, so they did a big search for about 5,000 Fiat Uno drivers.
It's a popular, incredible car. Yeah.
It's a popular car, yeah.
Yeah.
But the Fiat Uno in question was never officially found.
Okay.
I just did quotation marks in the air. You
Yeah.
can't see that.
No, I saw it though.
You saw it.
Yeah.
There were two likely contenders for ownership of the Fiat Uno.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first is so the reason why the Fiat Uno is important is because obviously with the paint on the Mercedes, I think it clipped it, and that could have caused it to careen into the
So just to clarify, we're also no relation to Bright Light Technique motorbike. This is going on to Fiat Uno's conspiracy.
No, they're all sort of interconnected as
Okay.
conspiracies
Okay,
are. You know,
okay,
there's a Fiat
okay.
Uno might have clipped it, and there's a bright light, so it's like
So you
the
blind
drivers-
them, give them a
yeah,
little nudge. Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the
I
first
mean, that's horrific.
that's
Sorry.
horrific.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not cool at all.
Yeah. It's cool.
Wow. So the first possible contender for ownership of the Fiat Uno is a photographer, and we all know photographers are dodgy as fuck, named James Anderson.
Do you want to give some context to that last statement?
Absolutely not. Anderson claimed to friends that he was there that night in the tunnel.
Okay.
However, when French police questioned him, he managed to provide evidence that he was 177 miles away.
Sorry, when did he initially... Sorry,
So
he said he was there?
James Anderson claimed to friends that he was there in the tunnel. But
Right.
then when police obviously came knocking on his door, he's like, no, I totally wasn't there.
So, and those friends have told
People.
the internet. Yeah.
Well, the police at that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Okay.
he'd said that he was there.
And this is stated in the court case?
Yes.
Right. Okay. Okay.
But James actually managed to produce pretty good evidence that he was not there.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Right.
So yeah, French police came knocking his door. He provided evidence that he wasn't there. He sold his Fiat Uno 2 months after the crash. And apparently he'd repainted it in the interim, but from what I could find on the internet, I couldn't find anything to back up that was actual fact or that's just hearsay, whatever. So I don't know if he did repaint it or not, but the fact is he had a Fiat Uno. He told people that he was there, and then he took that back when the police came knocking on his door, and then he sold it 2 months after the crash.
But he also could just be a shit talker that got called out a little bit. And
Absolutely.
maybe
He could be a
Yep.
massive shit talker.
Yeah.
So skip ahead to May 2000, and his body was found, James Anderson's body,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
was found in a burning car in a forest near his home in the south of France.
Oh, whoa. This
Whoa.
escalated. Yeah.
It's going very quickly there, didn't it?
Yeah. Cool. Right. Okay.
So one of the first on the scene, one of the first service professionals on the scene, a fireman, he believed that Anderson, because his name is spelled weird, it's like Andanson, so it's like
What's his first name?
James.
James.
It's
Let's
not
just stick with James.
Anderson. So this fireman thought that James had 2 bullet holes in his head, but I can't see how that would be easier to tell because his body was burning in a car. Like, it must be pretty fucked up at that point.
Yeah, but also, I don't know, Like, how experienced is this firefighter?
I don't know that.
Maybe he's been to a few
Maybe.
flaming car crashes, and it's like it's on fire in a bush,
Yeah.
and he's still in it.
He's still in it.
Oh, it could be unconscious, but no, I can.
Oh no, he's not unconscious. He's very dead. His head was on the floor.
Oh, separated.
Yeah, between.
How did he see the head?
Well,
If it's on the floor,
maybe he picked it up.
stuck his head in the burning vehicle.
No, they would have put it out, and then they would have had to get the body out.
And so, sorry, is there no public record autopsy on this?
There is actually.
James.
There is.
Okay.
But it actually took a month for his body to get identified because it was burnt so badly.
That's okay.
So how could you? I don't know if this. How could the fireman be like? Yeah, he totally had a hole in his temple from a bullet when his body was burned so badly it took a month.
Yeah. So now I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds very
That sounds a bit
suspicious.
suspect.
Yeah.
But one of the facts or the case of his this death was his car was locked. They never found the keys, and he was drenched with 20 liters of fluid before getting set alight too.
Sorry. Where's this fact come from? Sorry, what?
Oh no, that's all public knowledge.
How do they know it's 20 liters?
I don't know actually. That's a good question.
Like,
Maybe
once it's been burnt, how do you know how much was there? That sounds all suddenly. You say public knowledge, but is it?
that was in the inquest.
Okay, like it
But
would require.
you have a good point. I should have checked the 20 liters fact.
Yeah.
Would
No,
you
well,
like-
sorry, I'm jumping on maybe a
No,
small
that's
thing
not,
here.
it's not small. They're all little things like that. They all count. Little things count.
I'm feeling skeptical about all this side of it so far.
The fact how
Him suddenly being found in a burning vehicle a couple of months later, kind of thing. Like that's got a bit of goss to it. But then all the facts since I say facts with quotation marks since then have been like, maybe.
I'm not convinced that he had bullet holes in his head because how could you possibly tell? The inquest did say that he had a hole in his head. His autopsy, sorry, inquest is the wrong word, but they said because of the massive heat, because it took a month for his body to be identified. This was not like just someone who's got some sparks coming off them, whatever.
At the moment, I'm more inclined to think that he's a massive shit talker and got in a bit of trouble.
Oh no, the actual cause of death was ruled as suicide.
Okay, that could be a bit of a shit talker trait, maybe. I don't know.
Commit suicide by locking yourself in your car, the keys are never found, and burn yourself to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, you could find
that
a
makes
way.
sense.
Yeah.
Totally.
Cool.
Some other people think, people that are not you,
Yeah.
think that he was killed off because he was planning on coming forward with evidence of an assassination plot.
Okay.
So the theory is that obviously he was paid somehow before time to assist the assassination process.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he decided he was going to come forward for whatever reason, so he was bumped off.
Okay. So that there also I have no issues with.
Yeah.
If I believe a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another fact that I, up front, cannot verify. I've seen multiple sources and claims for this, but I couldn't find anything concrete. Apparently, a couple months after, well, no, not a couple months after his death. I think very soon after his death, because he was a photographer, obviously, and he worked for an agency called SIPA or SIPA, and also for the Sigma agency. Now, apparently, a few days after he was suicided,
Taken care of.
Yeah, suicided.
Yeah.
Unalived. The agencies in Paris were robbed at gunpoint, but the only things that were taken, well, I say the only things, hard drives, cameras, and storage media were taken. Such
Related
as
to
laptops.
him. And this is also a massive grain of salt one.
Yeah, because I can't find, it's been reported in various different sources, but I can't find any hard evidence. But the thing is, I'm trying to find this stuff, and this happened all in Paris, and I don't speak French.
Okay.
So it's actually hard to verify whether it did or didn't happen. So it might have happened, and it could well have happened, but I don't speak French, so like that kind of thing wouldn't be used.
It's not translated universally because
it's not big
for
news.
A common little robbery. But
Unless you make a connection.
so
it's
where
not
did
big
you
news.
find out about that then?
I can't remember the websites, but basically like media on the internet, like online news sources and things,
Okay.
said that there was a robbery.
Right.
So the second and slightly more plausible Fiat owner is someone called, and I'm going to butcher this pronunciation terribly, Le Van Than, a Vietnamese-born man living in Paris. So he was at the time working as a security guard. Now, Le Van, I don't know if I'm saying it right. We'll just assume that I am.
Yep.
His own father alleged that Le Van was behaving strangely that day after arriving home. So he worked night shift for security.
Yeah.
So he arrived home in the early hours, and apparently, and this was his father's testimony. So this is fact, not conspiracy at the moment.
Yep.
He immediately asked his brother to help him repaint his white Fiat Uno.
Sorry, and the repaint is a definite fact as well.
Okay, well, the testimony is definite fact.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
from
Yep.
his father.
Yeah. Yeah.
So apparently, he asked his brother to help him repaint his white Fiat Uno, and they painted it red. So afterwards, the brother apparently refused to discuss it with their father. And the father, I don't think it was until, I could be wrong, but I don't think it was until the British inquest that this came out. French police questioned Le Van, but ruled him out of the investigation for some reason. Years later, and not too long ago actually, only in 2019, two investigative journalists managed to secure an interview with Le Van. This is obviously a long time after the crash and a long time after the British inquest, but this is after Le Van refused to cooperate with Operation Paget. Now, I don't think I actually mentioned the name Operation Paget before.
No.
That was my bad. So before the inquest, they had the inquiry, which took like 2 years, and it was called Operation Paget.
Okay.
So before then, like the official police investigation was codenamed Operation Paget. So that he refused to cooperate with Operation Paget. He refused to testify at the British inquest. And when he did mention that he was not at fault, but he also said, this is with the interview with the investigative journalists. He said that he wasn't at fault, but he also said that he didn't want to drag up what happened that night. And he also claimed that he was advised by French authorities to not assist with the British inquiry. And I don't think this is necessarily, if that happened, I don't necessarily think that's evidence of a French cover-up, but the French police said that he may be charged under British law because their laws are different. Well, the British laws are different from French laws.
Okay, so this is sounding, to my mind, more evidence that he wasn't that involved. But he did something, but not related.
Well, the actual physical evidence is more on the side that it was Le Van Than over James Edmondson because there was more evidence that it was his car involved.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there was evidence that he'd had his bumper replaced and one of his taillights, and obviously the repainting and stuff. So there's more evidence, and
also, I guess for all we know, that was just a minor little. Like, maybe they bumped into him and carried on, and that was nothing to do with the actual crash kind of thing. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So he'd never been formally interviewed by the British inquiry, despite the fact that they tried to many times. So I think that he's probably the more likely candidate for the Fiat Uno driver, just based on the physical evidence.
The more for the driver, for why there's that colour, his vehicle's colour paint on.
Well, they're
Dinah's
both
vehicle.
white Fiat Unos in the right year.
Yeah.
But his had more evidence of that kind of the damage that coincided with the damage to the Mercedes.
Right. But at the moment, the only connection, though, is that there is the same colour paint on their vehicle. Not that it caused the crash or had anything to do with their death.
Correct.
Right. Yeah.
But the fact is, they tried to track down the Fiat Uno driver. They were never able to. But those are the
two leading suspects.
Yeah, two leading suspects. There's no one else even.
Chuck a bright flash so the driver can't see, nudge them off the road, easy way to crash. Yeah. Okay. All right. But, okay.
Yeah. So, other witness statements, and again, it's witness statements.
And sorry, I just want to confirm, the driver was drunk.
Maybe. We'll get to that.
Okay, sorry.
We'll get to that.
I thought that was a public. I thought you already stated that.
No, I stated that was the inquest said that he was drunk and that was the fault. You're asking me if he was drunk? We're going to get to that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
All right. Sorry.
Calm your titties. So we'll go to some other claims by witnesses before we get into like the proper tinfoil shit.
Right.
So a few witnesses, and these are witnesses that did testimony for the inquest. Some witnesses stated that they clearly recall seeing videos, or in some cases actual eyesight testimony, of Diana immediately after the crash walking around in the tunnel, seemingly mainly uninjured but a little bit dazed. So some people insist, a few people insist that she was actually...
But once again, this wasn't in the court case.
Well, the testimonies were.
Right.
But this is all unverified. There's no way to prove one way or another. One journalist, she wasn't at the scene, but one journalist said that she saw it on the news in the early hours. I think she lived definitely in France, if not Paris itself, and thinking to herself that it looked like Diana had made a lucky escape, but no, she went to bed, and in the morning she found out that Diana actually died, and she was like, what?
That could also just be flawed human memory.
Human memory is terribly flawed. This is why all this stuff needs...
We're shrugging our shoulders.
It's neither here nor there.
A little bit of sprinkling of skepticism.
Neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So there's obviously no video or photo evidence of these claims that Diana was, because multiple sources, there's just one of multiple sources that said they saw video that Diana was actually fine afterwards. So there's multiple people that said that, but there's obviously zero photo or video evidence that she was fine afterwards.
That you can actively find at the moment.
That you can actively find at the moment. Ooh,
right, yeah.
Think like a conspiracist now. Other witnesses, again, people that testified at the inquest, claimed to see multiple people lining the tunnel before the crash as if they were waiting for something.
Okay, that's odd.
Odd, but again, unverifiable.
Yeah.
And more witnesses, but this one is actually backed up by fact. So other witnesses claim that they saw Henri Paul signalling to the paparazzi.
The driver?
Yeah, the driver, sorry.
Yep.
Signaling to the paparazzi shortly before leaving the Ritz, which leads on to the subject of Henri Paul himself and all of his various mysteries.
Okay, are we stepping it up a small level here?
Just a small level. No, not a huge level. We haven't even got onto our first level of tinfoil yet.
We're not putting tinfoil on yet, but I mean, it sounds like we're getting a little
bit. Like Henry...
I mean, for how much he pounced to me for asking if he was drunk. I assume we're starting to get into...
We're getting there.
Okay.
So, Henri Paul... I keep saying Henry by accident. His name was Henri. It's more bougie. He was obviously the driver that night. At the time, he was acting head of security at the Ritz. Prior to that, he was an ex-French Air Force person, and later went into security after he semi-retired from the Air Force. He wasn't actually usually a driver, but he was tasked with looking after Diana and Dodie that night. I assume it's because of their VIP status. You know, he was the son of the hotel owner. She's the most famous woman in the world. So, yeah, the head of security gets relegated to status of driver. It is known that Henri passed low-level information to various agencies. That's just a fact. So he was security at the Ritz. So Ritz is very upmarket, lots of rich people. He passed low-level information to various agencies, including MI6, just about various goings-on at the hotel. That's an actual fact, not really conspiracy at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But to go back into the conspiracy side, Richard Tomlinson, who we mentioned before, the QE-born ex-MI6 agent.
Yep.
Yeah, Richard Tomlinson, he claimed that this included MI6 and that he had personally seen his file, and he wasn't actually a low-level informant. He was actually higher up in the ranks than people let on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the official inquest, the British inquest that is, not the French one, laid all the blame on Henri, claiming that it was gross negligence was the actual cause of death or charge, but he wasn't charged because he's dead, based on Henri speeding and being 3 times over the French limit for alcohol.
Is the French limit pretty universally similar to everyone else?
A little bit different. French limit, he was 3 times over the French limit and 2 times over the British limit.
Oh,
and
okay.
I believe the British limit is pretty similar to us here.
Right. Okay. So it's still enough to affect your reactions and
Still driving.
Still shouldn't be driving.
Yeah, totally. The autopsy though showed that he had he did have therapeutic levels of anxiety medications, and when I say therapeutic levels, that just means levels that are in accordance to a dose that you take for normal reasons. Like, he wasn't abusing his anti-anxiety meds. He was taking therapeutic normal levels of them.
Cool.
Like
Good.
a pill a day.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But one of the odd things about his autopsy is that he had an extremely high reading of carbon monoxide at about 20%. And to put into perspective, a normal amount is about 2% to 4%. So if his carbon monoxide levels were actually that high, he should have been experiencing huge amounts of nausea, headaches, dizziness. He should have barely been able to function.
Could you also consume a lot of that after a car crash, though, when you're in a vehicle that's
You could,
running?
but not if you died on impact, which he should have because the steering wheel went through his chest. So he should have died on impact. So if you die on impact,
So,
then...
so just double check. Steering wheel through the chest.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yes, that is.
The carbon dioxide, monoxide levels. Fact.
Fact.
At 20%, when the normal level is 4 to 5. Did you say
2 to 4, yeah.
2 to 4? Sorry. Could he have kept breathing for a little while with just an exhaust fume right in his face?
With the steering wheel through his chest?
Well, like how much through his can you rule that out?
Well, the medical professionals in the inquest said they could find absolutely no medical reason for this to be the case. So some people suggested
Does
that
carbon monoxide come from exhaust fumes?
it can do, and a number of other things. But
Is it normally carbon dioxide though?
I think it's carbon monoxide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You're right.
One of the mainstream theories is that because obviously he was in the front and his airbag went off, and they think because that is filled with stuff that's got carbon monoxide in it, and they think that he could have been breathing in carbon monoxide, but that was actually poo-pooed by one of the medical investigators who's like, well, if you done impact, impossible, and even if he didn't die in impact and took a few breaths, the levels were
Not enough
far
to get
too
to
high.
20%. Okay. So
that
these
was-
are all facts.
These are facts.
Cool.
These are
Yeah,
facts.
Yeah.
No one is able to explain why he has such high levels of carbon monoxide.
Okay, but also the body's like dying incredible shock. Like, well, I don't know.
Well, no, you don't just magically create carbon monoxide because you're in shock.
No, but I don't have anything to back this up. I'm going to stop and let you carry on.
Yeah, it's probably
cool.
the best idea at this point.
But the
Yeah.
pause.
So but let's say for some reason he was having massive amounts of carbon monoxide poisoning prior to his death. He should have been all over the place.
Swerving all over the place, like dizzy, weird.
Yeah, very dizzy. But and this again is actual fact.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say actual fact. I seen it, and it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
They've got the CCTV video of at the Ritz before they leave. So it's all actual stuff. And you can see Henri Paul walking around, and at one point he squats down to retie his shoelaces, and apparently he's drunk at this point and possibly got really high levels of carbon monoxide for whatever reason, but he manages to just squat down and tie his shoelaces and then stand up again, easy as. I can't do that whilst I'm fucking sober.
So does carbon monoxide poisoning cause similar effects to being drunk? Like,
Yeah.
could they be confused? Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So dizziness, nausea,
Is there any
headaches.
footage of them driving? Not necessarily the crash, but just general driving footage?
Only from when they first leave the Ritz, but after that, no.
Okay. Wouldn't be the case now, but all right.
Yeah, we'll get on to this CCTV
Oh, man.
in just a moment.
Everything
Yeah,
I'm taking a guess at you. Tickling the...
we'll get on to it.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, his carbon monoxide levels were very high, so he should have been barely able to function. He was obviously also alleged to have been very drunk, and that was the reason why he crashed a car. But his own family, Henri Paul's own family and friends, were very angry at these allegations. They said that he was not a drunk. He did drink occasionally, but he was an alcoholic and very rarely drank for excess. So he had, wines occasionally. I think his favourite tipple was Ricard's, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He did drink. He wasn't like a teetotaler, but not the kind of person that would drink to excess or drive drunk. So they're very angry at all these allegations about his.
Okay,
About
I'll
this
chuck a
happening.
little bit of salt each way. Like, family can definitely be emotional at the
They
death of
can
the
be,
family.
they
So,
can be.
like, okay. But also, like, I think for some people it can be quite surprising to slip to double or triple, or in our case, double the legal limit. I think some people could definitely accidentally get there.
They could do, but
Yeah.
also, and this is all, again, this is not fact, but apparently he took his job very seriously. Ex-army, and also
I'm
he
more
was...
inclined to believe that side of it. Right.
in his spare time, he was a pilot, and and this again is verifiable fact.
That's more credit for being drunk.
Oh yeah, I suppose it is. Pilots are terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes that New Zealand sponsorship.
He said New Zealand. All airplanes are no longer going to sponsor this podcast.
A few days prior to this, because he was also a what do you call it when it's not for job but you do it for fun?
Volunteer?
No, not volunteer. Like hobbyist. Nah, that's not the right word. Fuck it. He was a pilot.
Recreational?
Yes, that's a badger.
Yeah.
Recreational pilot, but obviously you have to go through like actual proper licenses.
Yeah.
And he had like a full physical and medical just a few days prior to this, and went through with flying colours. So yeah, very very suspect.
And I had a great medical probably before I started this podcast and started drinking.
I'm sure you did. But to carry on from Henri
So
Paul's-
is that just a statement that he was in good physical, mental health?
Yes, yeah.
Physical and mental?
Apparently so.
Okay.
Apparently he was very boring. A very boring person.
Right,
So
right.
he didn't socialise much. His whole life was his job, and he took it very seriously.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. I
Nothing
like
wrong
the
with
characterization.
at all. Like it was just his friends and family just didn't appreciate this characterization of him in the media of this cavalier sort of, I'm just going to drink a lot and then drive around the most famous person in the world, and her boyfriend who is also the son of my employer.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to his personal characteristics. But again, that's hearsay, not verifiable fact. So one of the other issues when we touched on it briefly before, one of the other issues is that Henri Paul decided to take a strange route back to Dodie's apartment.
Yeah.
So there are two other more direct routes. I won't go into too much because we already did it before. There was a short route down the Champs-Élysées.
The congestion.
But the congestion. And the second route, which made more sense out of all of them, was the logical option. But the
Maybe it was logical to the paparazzi as well. Like, okay, I'm happy to
maybe
possibly brush over this.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
So to get to this other route, you'd follow the route to the Armour Tunnel, which is where she died. But there's a slip road just prior to it that you have to take, and he missed it completely. So a few people think that it was quite easy. It's a slip road, quite easy to block off. So some people think it was blocked off to force them into the tunnel.
Okay.
But no one knows.
Which is required for the bright light technique. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, you've got to force them into the tunnel.
Yeah.
It is in terms of Henri Paul being a dodgy fucker. Some people think that he was paid to go into the tunnel, but he didn't know he was going to die in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So the theory is that he was just paid to go into the tunnel, and after that, like, he doesn't know, no one knows, but he didn't think he was going to die. So the evidence to this is, in fact, this following bit is all verifiable fact. It's all in the inquests. But at the time of his death, after they started investigating him, Henri Paul, as the security officer at the Ritz, he was on about £20,000 salary. So to you,
60?
about not even that these days. Inflation 40-50.
Right. Okay. So that's not much.
Yeah, not much.
That sounds really low for the kind of job.
Yeah. Also, if you take into effect, that was 1997, so inflation.
Right. Okay.
So not badly paid, but wasn't
not great.
rich. It wasn't rich by any state of the imagination. And this is a verifiable fact.
Just to double check, he's like their driver for years, kind of thing, or driver this night, or
he wasn't. He was driving that night. He's
driven for them before.
I don't know if he's driven for them before. He was driving for them that night because he was head of security at the Ritz, and he was asked to drive for them that night.
Okay. Yeah. Asked by them.
Either Mohammed or Dodi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the time of his death, or just after his death, obviously everyone's getting investigated, and it turned out, and this is all fact from the inquest, he had 14 bank accounts across France, totaling about £170,000 in assets. So £170,000 of just money, and he had like a £20,000 salary. It's like, where did all that money come from?
Okay. Yeah.
Quite a lot of money.
That's factual.
That is factual.
Okay.
Obviously, the reasons why he had that money, that's hearsay. So,
but it might not be related to her death. It could be.
No, not at all. His
yeah.
parents, who think that he was nothing dodgy about him at all, insist it was all tips from wealthy people at the Ritz.
But also there was that speculation earlier that he was actually quite a higher informant. Is this Mr. Informant as well, or have I got that information wrong?
No, he was supposedly
An
MI6 related.
informant.
It was Richard Tomlinson that said that
He was a lot higher than just low level.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So that could explain the high end money. Right. Yeah.
But with the high level stuff, like, you don't kill off your high levels. So some people...
Oh, you might do. I've seen
Well,
James Bond. Yeah.
Yeah, very factual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have seen James Bond. You are correct. Yeah.
You have, I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
But the theory is that he was actually high ranking, not as high ranking as he thought.
Right. Yeah.
So he was paid to do this, and he was like, cool, I'll do this. And he trusted that everything was going to be sweet. But he was just killed off as collateral.
Yeah.
So he had money payments into his account, because this money, these were all deposits made in the months leading up to this. Again, fact.
Sorry,
Again, fact.
All of them? How much? Like, do you know?
I think £80,000 of it was all in deposits.
Of the 170?
Yeah.
Okay, so good. Okay, good chunk. Yeah.
All in leading up to the crash and the months preceding it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why is he suddenly getting all this money coming in? Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, maybe they just paid him that to make him have a false sense of security, so he does what they say. Because, like, why do you pay me all this money if you're going to kill me off?
So, sorry, what's Princess Diana's current boyfriend called?
Dodie.
Mm-hmm. Am I allowed to bring it up yet? Is it an assassination attempt on him or her? Like, is that an option? Like, they're trying to get him? Because I don't know anything about him.
No, that's a good question. And there are a few people that do think it might have been him and she was collateral.
Right,
But it's just not something really ever took off because there wasn't much reason to.
Because it's not as juicy as for podcast content?
Not as much... That too. Just not as much reason. If you're going to do something to Dodie, it'll be to get a ransom. Because all he's really got to him is...
I don't know the guy or what's he involved in or anything. Yeah, it's like
he's
knocking him off might have been a convenient operation.
He's not part of nobility, royalty, he's not political. All he's really got to him...
Yeah, but
I say all he's really got to him is like the fact that he's was ridiculously, massively, sickeningly wealthy.
So sorry, have we covered off, or are we going to cover off? Or like, am I not allowed to ask this yet?
You can ask.
Why kill Princess Diana?
Oh yes, we're going to get to that.
Oh, we're going to get to that. Okay, got yeah.
I feel like I said that a lot.
Yeah, no, you have, but it's because I think I'm seeing where some stuff's going. Maybe, or I've got questions. And stuff. That's good. Yeah, cool. Yeah,
good little patch.
I'll hold my breath. Go.
Yeah, don't. Okay, yeah, just hold your breath. That's cool. This is so peaceful. Just going to drink some wine. So, you do raise a good point about Dodie, that is. Mm-hmm. But there just wasn't enough reason. If you're going to do something to Dodie, you'd kidnap him and ransom him because all he's really got going for him is money.
So who says that? You, or is this?
Yeah, me.
Okay.
So yeah, me.
Okay.
But it's just logic.
Yeah, but but maybe he's also a real piece of shit or knows some information. Information will get you killed. Yeah,
maybe he does.
Yeah.
Maybe he does.
Yeah.
So it was going back to Henri Paul being a patsy. It was Richard Tomlinson that had suggested that
Kiwi.
he was actually the Kiwi born, British educated.
Yeah.
Because we'll just get rid of people once they start being snitches. You can keep them. We don't want those Kiwis.
No, he's born here. Does he still live here when he was snitching?
No. He was British at that point.
Yeah, so I guess he made him a snitch. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so that was why he was kicked out of New Zealand. Because he's a dirty snitch.
No, it sounds like he was born here and then went over there and became a snitch, is what it sounds like.
Why didn't fit in over here?
Because he's a snitch.
Yeah, because he's a snitch.
But did he move back here?
I don't know.
So he moved over there, became a snitch and stayed there. Snitch.
I hope so.
That's clear where the snitching comes from. Carry on.
Okay. Anyway, Henri Paul was obviously killed as a patsy.
As a patsy being... scapegoat.
Yes, a scapegoat.
Yeah.
No, I'm not actually saying that. It's just the...
You say obviously, but it's what it looks like.
It's...
Big lumps of money, high levels of carbon monoxide.
Yeah. Okay. Another reason why people think he might have been a patsy and party to all this up until the point where he died, because obviously he probably wouldn't have accepted 80,000 or 170,000 pounds either to die, because then you can't spend it. So why would you do that? Makes no sense. So another reason why people think...
Unless you're terminal, family. I can think of reasons you'd take the money, but carry on.
Okay, no, that's a good point. Like a whole sort of like Breaking Bad situation.
I haven't seen enough Breaking Bad.
I haven't actually seen it either, so I could probably just be speaking up my ass. But I know that he had cancer.
Oh!
Oh shit, was that a spoiler?
Maybe.
Fuck.
That wasn't part. I didn't know that.
Can we scratch that?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Another reason why people think that he may have been a patsy
Yeah.
or in on the plot, sorry,
Yeah.
is because he chose that specific car to drive Diana and Dodie that night.
And why is that?
Because, I'm
Yeah.
glad you asked, my patricky friend, they had been using other cars throughout their time in Paris, and the car that they ended up dying in that night was a fleet car owned by it's actually owned by a limousine company.
Not some royalty level reinforced safe car. It's a...
Well, it was kind of a Ritz vehicle. It was owned by a limousine company, leased by the Ritz. And apparently it was only one available at that point, but only because they decided at the last minute, because if you remember, there's so many paparazzi around, they decided to do a little sneaky and have like some cars leave out the front of the Ritz that were the ones that had been using decoy cars, whilst Diana and Dodie escaped out the back of the Ritz and got into some other car.
Okay.
So apparently the only car available was this specific Mercedes.
And so, sorry, do they normally travel around in a far safer vehicle?
Well, the model of Mercedes isn't the issue. It's the car itself. It had been stolen months before that, fact.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Written off, but rebuilt anyway. And then sold to the limousine company. That's fact.
Right. So owned by the limousine company originally?
No, owned by someone else originally. I'm not sure who.
Okay.
Stolen by an ex-parolee, someone who was out on...
But somebody.
Yeah,
Yep.
ex-crim kind of person.
Yep.
They
a current crime at the
went
time,
took it, went on the joyride,
Yeah.
flipped it many times into a field. It was written off.
Yeah.
But because it's at that point it was a very new, very expensive car, they decided they got the money for the insurance, but decided to rebuild it.
Okay.
So they rebuilt it, and the limousine company, the name of the limousine company, I can't pronounce it. I think it's Etoile Limousines.
Yeah.
Bought the car, and then it was leased to the Ritz or used by the Ritz.
Okay.
And now apparently, and this is where it's so that stuff was fact. Now this hard to verify and not. So it's reported in multiple different medias, but I can't actually find any hard evidence that this happened. But apparently 2 weeks before the crash, the car was stolen again. But then they found it in pristine condition, apart from the fact that the EMS chip was missing, the onboard computer chip.
Okay, and what does the onboard... Like, do you have a reason why that's suspicious?
Well, apparently that controls navigation, acceleration, turning into something else.
Okay, so that could also, like, just to be skeptic,
Yeah.
could also just be of where it went and they didn't want that information and they knew enough about that.
Yeah, quite possibly.
But still, like, not dodgy enough because it's in good enough condition to fingerprint swab kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the fact that it got stolen again, unsure. It is the fact that it did not have that specific EMS chip in it.
Oh, it's still up at the time of the crash.
Yeah, at the time of the crash, it didn't.
Okay.
It didn't. More on that in a bit. Sorry, I keep saying it.
That's good. You're teasing.
I am teasing. I am a tease. So, that's what it was. I've got it written down. The computer chip controlled navigation, acceleration, steering, and braking.
Okay.
Yeah. So this car itself, it also had faulty seatbelts, and an employee of the Ritz had, in the month preceding to the crash, had said that it was an unsafe vehicle because they're taken out for a spin, and they said that it was very unstable once you get above 60 miles an hour, and was a bad car, and they said it was unsafe. So they suggested getting rid of it.
And dodgy seatbelts because they weren't wearing seatbelts, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, correct. And it is a little bit dodgy that Diana wasn't wearing a seatbelt because apparently she was quite fanatical about wearing a seatbelt. Her own sister said that.
Unless you're in a vehicle with dodgy seatbelts and suddenly you're running away and you go to put the seatbelt on and
Well, apparently her seatbelt didn't work at all.
By didn't work at all, like didn't click in, didn't retract. Do you know?
I'm not sure. I just said it was faulty and didn't work.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is, anything that happened to that car after the fact is a little bit suspect to me because Mercedes themselves offered on multiple occasions to send the industry experts to examine the car. And the French authorities refused every time. So Mercedes the makers of the car offered for free.
Yeah, but I could also, at the same time, just always be a skeptic.
You just want to look.
No, but they also might have just been, how can we publicly spin this to make us not look bad? Maybe.
Oh, yeah, quite possibly.
Maybe, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, Mercedes did offer.
Yeah.
And they're like, nah, bro.
It's also been rebuilt by Mercedes. Don't know.
No, it was not.
Yeah, so
it was written off.
Easy scapegoats from Mercedes as well. Yeah. But they
was,
couldn't say that until they've seen it. Well, they could have said that actually. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So before we get into the first layer of tinfoil or anything, we'll go into the last person that we haven't really discussed yet. The last person in the car, Trevor Rees-Jones.
I'm excited for these tinfoil levels. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Because don't get excited about Trevor Rees-Jones because he was hella boring.
Cool. Okay.
No, like genuinely, he was. So Trevor Rees-Jones, he's the only survivor of the crash.
Oh right, and he is bodyguard.
Bodyguard.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So Henri Paul, the driver, died. Dodie died. Dinah died. Trevor Rees-Jones still alive today. Mm-hmm. He's super fucking boring.
So did he acknowledge any bright light?
No, he's super boring. Like literally.
Did he say anyone bumped into him? Can he explain the pain in the car?
Oh, hang on a sec.
Yeah.
Very handily, he has zero recollection of anything at night after he left the Ritz. Oh, hang on a sec. He did have one vague recollection. Sorry, I misspoke. He had a vague recollection that there may have been a motorbike driving next to them, and he may have heard Diana calling out for Dodie, but he also said that he can't be sure that there weren't false memories because he can't remember much. So he was actually in a coma for 10 days after the accident.
Oh, okay.
And his face was pretty much pulverized, and they had to reconstruct his entire face.
It's a real good fuel for not remembering.
Yeah, totally.
Okay,
totally.
Cool.
But he's got zero memories, and he's also
So maybe not a boring guy, just not boring for the sake of the conspiracy.
Yeah. Sorry, Trevor Rees, you're not boring. No, I'm sure you're a lovely person.
I like him, mate. Yeah.
He probably plays golf.
Oh no, we said not boring.
I
think there's another chunk of our audience.
Well, anyway, and he also says that there's no conspiracy about this situation. He says that he agrees with the British inquest entirely. So he's just, he is just very boring.
Okay, he's he's boring. Right.
But is he so boring that he's suspicious?
Okay.
A little bit.
Maybe. Yeah.
Like I can't find anything suspicious about him at all. Like that's not a red herring. Like, but that's suspicious that he's not suspicious. Like everyone's a little bit suspicious.
Yeah, it could just be perfect Patsy.
He could be maybe he's not dead.
No, but he also can't remember.
He also can't remember.
Maybe Men in Black got him.
Maybe. But yeah, he's not into any of the conspiracies. He can't remember anything, and he agrees with the inquest results. So,
okay.
Lame.
Right.
Are you ready for the first layer of tinfoil?
Oh man, I'm ready. I'm excited for this. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sorry, how many layers of tinfoil are there?
3.
3. Yeah. And just 1, 2, and 3 layers of tinfoil.
Oh, no, there's a couple of theories. Oh, this the first layer of tinfoil has like 2 different theories to it. The layer of tinfoil isn't the amount of theories; it's how crazy they are.
Yeah. So sorry. So 1 being that's pretty plausible. 3 being
pretty plausible.
This is really out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and 2 is in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
cool. I'm ready. So we're starting with number 1.
Yeah, number 1. So like
1 layer. This is
very boring.
In the scale of tinfoil.
In the scale of tinfoil,
conspiracies.
Very boring. But this is like why she may have been killed off.
Yeah.
So this is all like in the realms of not factual. I'll tell you if it is, but I think from now on
we're getting into the tinfoil hats.
We're getting into tinfoil.
And so how many layer 1s have we got?
I think it's 2 layer 1s, a couple of layer 2s, and then like 1 layer 3.
Oh man, I'm excited for that number 3.
Oh, layer 3 is batshit. Love it. It's my favourite one.
Okay, cool. Hit me with the first.
All right,
layer
first
1
layer of tinfoil. Are you right?
Yeah.
You right for a drink, bro?
Yeah, I'm alright to get through this. Yeah.
All right, cool. So we already touched briefly on it, but one of the most common theories is that Diana and by extension Dodie was murdered by MI6. The main basis for this is the aforementioned, as we've gone through, the allegations about the goings on in the tunnel, the MI6 connections, and the strange amount of time it took to get Diana from the car accident to the hospital. It was actually nearly 2 hours after the accident before she got to a hospital. And they also passed by another hospital closer by in favour of one further away.
Okay, I'm not feeling inclined to believe this one. This is the first layer, all right?
No, that's true.
No, so I'm not arguing that, but I'm just arguing like that.
Oh, that's not
that,
the conspiracy.
that-
That's conspiracy. We're just setting up.
Oh, okay,
Calm down,
cool.
calm
So
down.
this wasn't juicy.
Yeah, it's not very juicy.
Yeah.
The French authorities say that the reason why it took so long to get to hospital is because it was standard procedure in France to stabilize patients as much as possible before transporting them, as opposed to like here, or I assume the US and certainly in the UK, you get to the hospital as soon as possible. In France, it's almost like a mobile operating theatre.
Also, I remember also the Jaws of Life were required to cut her out.
Yeah, exactly.
So like that takes some time.
No, it does take some time, but
Yeah.
she was all the minutes once the emergency workers get there are very clearly categorized. So that took a certain amount of time, and then from that, it took like a certain amount of time for her to get from there to the ambulance to the hospital, and the ambulance stopped on the way and stuff, and they stopped.
Okay.
And, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so they took a long time to get to the hospital. And then there was a doctor on board that also told them to drive slowly so as not to make a condition worse. So the fact that it took her a while to get to the hospital, not a big deal to me. I don't think that's suspect at all. But why would anyone want to offer?
Anyone want to offer what?
Off her.
Oh, yeah.
Why would someone want to bump her off?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, first theory is that MI6 bumped her off. And this is what Mohammed Al-Fayed insists, that MI6 bumped her off.
Yeah, but that's still not a reason. That's a person. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but this is all very speculative. Why would MI6 want to bump her off? Mohammed Al-Fayed insists that she was murdered to stop her from marrying Dodi. Because he was a Muslim.
Okay, yeah.
Because also I'm like, but maybe we're too young? It feels great to say that.
Well, maybe
we're too
we're
young.
not
Like, this was in 1997.
racist enough? I don't know.
Maybe. But to me, like, marrying a Muslim isn't a big enough deal to kill someone. Like, why? Because...
No, it doesn't seem like enough of a cause
No.
to do what was done, especially with the... Well, so if you're jumping on some of this conspiracy side of it, it's not enough fuel for me.
I don't think so either. I agree with you. But
Okay.
Mohammed Al-Fayed insists that it was to prevent her from...
Well, so I'm not against MI6 causing it. Like, sure, cool,
yeah,
whatever.
it's just a reason. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but the reason doesn't make sense. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all right. There is a theory that I'm actually on board with. But we'll get to that.
Okay. You carry on. I'm just going to grab a paper towel to wipe up all the wine I just spilt while you...
Thank you. That's just all my notes. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So you take a sip and then, go for it.
Thank you, yeah. So Mohammed Al-Fayed insists that it was because she was about to marry Dodi and give birth to Dodi's child, and that the monarchy wouldn't want the future king of England to have a Muslim stepfather and Muslim half-siblings. So Mohammed alleges that Prince Philip is actually the mastermind behind this, because apparently Prince Philip was, because he's now dead, he wasn't at the time, was the mastermind because he was a Nazi sympathizer. And that is
I'm going to slow you down a smidge a little bit here. So, the monarchy doesn't want a Muslim?
a
Muslim to be part of the monarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
okay.
he wouldn't actually be an official part of the monarchy, because Diana was not crown princess. She was married into it. After her divorce, she was...
Yeah, but it could make a Muslim part of the monarchy who then could
only by
carry on and...
Oh no, none of their children. This is the main reason why I don't think he's into this theory. Yes, Dodi would be stepfather to Harry and William and Harry, and yes, if they had any kids, there'd be half siblings to William and Harry. None of Dodi's and Diana's children, if they had any, would be in line to the throne at all.
But would they be considered nobility? Because she's still got the title of princess.
They'll be considered nobility, but
So they could then be married by someone of royalty.
nobility.
No. Sorry, the nobility kids could be married by someone of royalty. That can happen. Like, you know how like Princess Diana was nobility but not royalty? Same step. Because people would love their kids, her kids, because people loved her. And so that could, like, long-winded, early stages of a master plan.
There are many other families of UK nobility that are, like, not white. Like, there's not... I don't think...
Are they Muslim?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think it's...
I have personally nothing against Muslim, by the way. I just assume that's part of the reason. Well, you stated that was the reason for knocking them
Dodi
off.
thinks it's because he was Muslim. But I don't think it was a... I think that theory is dumb.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mainly because, like, Muslim nobility, who the fuck cares? And none of Diana and Dodi's kids would have actually been in line to the throne at all.
No, I'm right there with you saying.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to devil's advocate.
Yeah,
carry
absolutely.
On. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. So that's why Muhammad insists that they were murdered.
Okay.
Because she was pregnant with Dodi's child. She was going to have a Muslim baby. The monarchy didn't want Muslim stepfather to the future kings and didn't want Muslim half-siblings running around for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I think that's very tenuous, as I mentioned. Muhammad al-Fayed thinks that it was actually Prince Philip's doing because he was a massive racist.
So, just quickly clue me up on Philip.
Prince Philip is Queen Elizabeth's husband. He died... When did he die? Last year? 2 years ago?
Okay.
So he
Good
is...
friends of Epstein?
No, that's Andrew.
Okay, cool. Okay, right.
So Prince Philip was the old codger. The one that said it really
Cheeky little
inappropriate.
C-bomb on the first podcast. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, codger is such a bad word. He's the one that said inappropriately, hilariously racist things every so often.
Oh, okay, which
Yeah,
puts a little more fuel to the not liking Muslims.
Yeah, but I think a lot of English people think that it was like just sort of good-natured ripping.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as good-natured racism.
Right.
It's just bad. But yeah, he's actually Greek, and he had to forego his own titles in order to marry Elizabeth back in 1920, 30, whatever.
Okay. So, are we on to part 1.2 of Tinfoil 1?
We're getting there.
Right.
We're getting there. I'm going through the reasons why I think this is a shit theory.
Hit me with it.
Well, I think it's a shit theory because, I mean, I already mentioned her kids after William and Harry, no claim to the throne.
Right.
So who cares?
Yeah.
And also, more importantly, she'd already been in a much longer relationship with a Muslim man, Hasnat Khan, who we mentioned before. And the guy said he seemed pretty cool. And they never tried to offer... That was a much more serious relationship. They were together like 2 years. Her and Dodi had been together like a few months. They never tried to offer her or Hasnat...
Yeah, but she also didn't get pregnant to him.
Yeah, that's very true. She might not have been pregnant to him.
But yes, yeah, I'm...
So, no, that actually makes perfect sense. Maybe that's what tipped them off.
Yeah.
And made them actually kill her because she was pregnant. Was she pregnant? Do you reckon she was pregnant?
Oh, I don't know.
The main evidence that she is Dodi's dad's assistants actually told them that she was pregnant.
Yeah, but none of her family know this.
None of her family.
No one she was close to.
No one she was close to.
Yeah, okay.
No, in fact, she actually went on a cruise in the weeks preceding her holiday, her final holiday.
Was she drinking at the Ritz?
I don't know for certain. However, at Harrods, the store we talked about.
I've heard about that place. Yeah.
Good, I'm glad. Dodi Al-Fayed actually put up a monument to Dodi and Diana, and it's like a ring, an engagement ring that Dodi had apparently bought Diana, and there's a pyramid, and also there is 2 wine glasses that they used that night. With one of them's got lipstick on. She might not have been drinking wine or whatever. Like, who cares? It's just a little bit of fetal alcohol syndrome.
Oi.
What, Bill's character? Anyway.
Helps create quality podcasts.
Was she pregnant?
Are you asking me that question?
No, I'm asking myself that question.
Okay, right.
Blood tests after her death found that there was no sign of pregnancy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a fact?
That's what they would say. That's what they would say.
No, but sorry, is this
court-based
fact?
This is court-based fact.
Yeah, right, yeah, okay. So I'm inclined to write this one off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was no sign of pregnancy, apparently. Yep. However, her body was embalmed, possibly illegally, quickly.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. So obviously she died in France, in Paris, but she was a British citizen.
Yeah, also the royalty, a little bit of... No, we'll do it.
Yeah, well, the royalty is not actually much of it. She shouldn't have been embalmed until the British authorities even say so, because whenever someone, and this is in terms of British
So,
laws.
okay, sorry. How quickly was she embalmed?
Within a few hours of her death.
A few hours.
Yeah.
Okay, that does sound fast. Not that I'm an expert in that, but I assume that's very quick.
It is very quick.
Right.
It is very quick.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider that.
I can understand a little bit of freaking out though, because it's Princess Diana
And that if you're like 0% conspiracy theorist, that is what you'd assume. Like,
yeah.
apparently it was a very hot day and they had like bags of ice around her and aircon on. It was August in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
So like the opposite of what it is for us now.
Yeah.
So it was warm, and had like the fucking crown prince coming over to pick her up, and like, oh, she's a bit gross. So they decided to, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But the conspiracy theorists would say that they embalmed her so quickly is because obviously with the embalming fluid, they take out all of your actual fluids, blood and stuff, and replace it with the embalming fluid. So therefore, pregnancy tests will be null and void. Like, you couldn't.
And hard to double check it.
Yeah, you couldn't know someone was pregnant.
Right.
However, once her body was back in the UK, Dr. John Burton, who was, I believe he was a physician for the royal household, he was present for her post-mortem. Obviously,
And sorry, just double check, how long did it take her to get back to the UK?
she was back in the UK by 6 p.m. that evening.
Right.
So she died at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Embalmed a few hours later. Body was taken back by 6 p.m. So she would have been, the post-mortem would have been sometime that night.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Dr. John Burton said about her womb, quote, "She wasn't pregnant. I've seen into her womb. I was actually present when she was examined. She was not pregnant. I know she was not pregnant." End quote.
Okay.
But people, naysayers, would say if she was actually pregnant, but she would only have been pregnant by not by very long, you wouldn't be able to see that visually because it's not even a fetus at that point. It's like a little grain of gross rice, like 5 millimeters long. So people like, well, a visual inspection.
Okay.
Like, you can't tell that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the embalming was very unusual because they did it very quickly, which the illegality side of it comes because they could have made that call if she was a French citizen, but she was not. So they had to comply with, or they had to abide by, or at least respect other countries' rules. And the British rules is that if someone dies unnaturally or unexpectedly, is a legal term, they have to have an inquest, and that includes having to have a legal autopsy.
Right.
But the embalming.
Okay. So like that like the speedy embalming, that's a little bit juicy. But this case in general so far, this, what are we calling this, tinfoil 1.1?
Yep.
I'm not that excited by.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Well, if you're not excited, we can skip through some of the rest of tinfoil 1.1. Just to mention that one of her friends, Rose in Moncton, they went on a cruise, and she testified that Diana had actually had her period earlier in August, a few weeks before she died.
Right.
So she was pregnant.
So it seems more and more evidence towards this case not being because of the pregnancy.
Unless she was paid off.
Yeah,
she might have
But I
been-
mean, there's okay, yeah.
You
No.
never know.
And also royal family like trying to stop that as well, like because that was the guy that said definitely, that was the quote you gave before, right? He was the royal medical
Physician, yeah.
physician. Sorry, yeah. And so that could also tie in with the MI6 cause. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's the letter.
The letter.
The letter that I sort of touched on earlier. The one that was published after she died, written before she died, about getting bumped off.
That she sent to
Her butler, Paul Burrell.
Okay. Who was in the car?
No, Paul was not in the car.
Oh, that was the bodyguard, sorry,
Yeah.
not the butler. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you like me to read some of the letter to you?
Yeah, go on.
All right. Quote, "I'm sitting here at my desk today in October."
Fantastic British accent, by the way.
Thank you. "Longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase in my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car, a brake failure and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry Tiggy. Camilla is nothing more than a decoy. So we are being used by the man in every sense of the word. End quote.
Okay, so this letter, I'm going to ask a couple of questions.
Of course.
How do we know if she read it?
Handwriting analysis, and it was given in trust to her butler, her personal butler.
Any DNA evidence?
No DNA evidence.
Was DNA evidence checked for?
I don't know. But it seems...
Was this used in the court case?
It seems in mainstream media that the question... It's not questioned that it is her letter.
Was it used in the court case?
I don't know.
Okay.
But I know it was not used... Let me restart that. I do not know if it was used in the inquest. British police did question Charles about it. But I don't know if that was in relation to the inquest or separately, because I can't remember if it came out before or after the inquest. But he was actually questioned about it because the British police took it seriously.
Was the butler part of any of the court cases?
He testified at the inquest.
And did he mention the letter?
He did mention the letter. But he also does not necessarily think that it was a conspiracy to murder her.
Even though that's what...
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, can you read it again?
Yeah. Do you want me to quote it?
Yeah, go for it.
I am sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high.
Sorry, didn't she die in August?
This was written the year before, though.
Cool.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. This particular phase of my life is the most dangerous. My husband is planning an accident in my car. So remember, this was actually before the divorce.
Yeah.
Brake failure and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry Tiggy. Camilla
and who's
is...
Tiggy?
Oh, so she was actually William and Harry's nanny. And apparently her and Charles had an affair.
Right, okay.
For him to marry Tiggy. Camilla is nothing more than a decoy, so we are being used by the man in every sense of the word. End quote.
But I guess if Charles probably doesn't have too much really to do, like he's out of the equation by now, isn't he?
Well,
by the time of the death.
Yeah, by the time of the death.
Yeah.
When she released the letter, they were still married.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of people assume that she was just paranoid.
Okay. Yeah.
Was she paranoid? She was notoriously paranoid.
Okay.
She was paranoid that the establishment, as in the monarchies and the family that she married into, she was convinced that they're out to get her.
Okay.
She often claimed that her phones and her rooms were bugged.
No, I wouldn't deny that.
No, I think that was probably actually quite accurate.
Probably a standard practice, yeah.
As she went to the extent of taking phones apart to search for proof of bugs.
Okay.
There is actually a little bit of hard truth that she was bugged, as evidenced by Squidgygate.
Which is?
I'm glad you asked.
A fun name to
My
say.
Patricky friend. A Squidgygate is a famous phone conversation that was recorded between Diana and a close friend of hers, probably affair partner, called James Gilby. The Sun newspaper publicised...
The Sun newspaper?
Yeah.
Okay.
You've heard of the Sun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't follow conspiracies, but I know the Sun's
the Sun.
a high quality of polish.
Does. Highest
of
quality.
Yeah.
But the Sun newspaper publicised the tapes in the early 90s. They were so-called Squidgygate because James calls Diana Squidgy 53 times throughout the course of these phone calls. Squidgy.
Okay.
Yeah. So the recorder of the call was supposedly a 70-year-old man called Cyril Renan, who's...
Sorry, when you say the recorder, someone on the other end of the bugging?
Well, at this point, we don't know if it's a bugging. We're just talking about the fact that some private conversations of hers were recorded and sold to the Sun newspaper.
Okay, right.
And apparently they were recorded by a retired dude called Cyril Renan, whose hobby was to record phone calls via radio frequency.
Radio frequency?
Yeah.
What? I mean, why would they communicate via radio frequency even back then? Like, it's not that old.
I don't know, but apparently he had, like, a whole little, like, homemade eavesdropping studio in his house.
Okay.
But, I mean, what you say makes perfect sense because many people think that the fact what he's saying was not actually possible. So, you know, what you say is actually very relevant.
But it was a recording, though, still,
Yeah,
nonetheless.
it was a recording.
Okay,
And it was a legit recording.
I understand enough about the technology.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And apparently he loved to make homemade recordings of people's private phone calls because he is a fucking creeper.
Yeah.
However, yeah, he apparently sold these recordings to the Sun, but multiple agencies studying the tape, including Cellnet, because in terms of the recording itself, the Diana end was from the palace, and the other end was on a cell phone. So, dude was on a cell phone, she was on a landline. So his cell phone was via the carrier Cellnet, and Cellnet was all like, shit, how are people listening to our people's phone conversations?
Yeah.
So they decided to investigate along with a bunch of other agencies. And what they decided, well, what they figured was that there was no way that the way Cyril said that he could have recorded these could have possibly happened.
Okay, well, straight away, one, they wouldn't want that public knowledge. And two, that was my first thought as well, especially with the explanation of radio frequency. But so like, I'm inclined to be skeptical of both parties here. Yeah.
Well, there was a whole lot of, and I can show you, like, there's a whole lot of, like, what's that word I'm looking for? Technological shit.
Okay.
As to why it couldn't have been him and why. One of the things I vaguely understood was there's a 50 hertz hum heard on the line that was consistent with the direct tap on a phone line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, there's a whole Wikipedia on this itself, and there's a whole lot of reasons why it couldn't have been him because it wasn't possible.
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm aware, cell phones don't use. Do many phone lines use phone in any sorts, digital or landline, use radio? I'm pretty sure nah.
This was pre-97. This was a long time ago. I don't know. I was playing with dolls back then. I was still...
Yeah, I'm still inclined to say no, but I'm happy to admit I'm not an expert.
We can look into it. We can look into it.
Yeah, well,
but the
I'm just going to be skeptical at the current time. Yeah.
He wasn't able, with what he had available to him, he wasn't able to record this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there is actually these private phone recordings got published. So she's got some evidence that she was actually getting bugged and watched. Also, Diana was convinced that one of her previous lovers, Barry Manicky, was murdered for boning her.
Oh.
Yeah. So Barry Manicky was...
Sorry, the recordings are factual, though.
Oh, the recordings are factual, yeah. Yeah, the Sun recorded them.
And now they...
the Sun...
have access to them.
Yeah. You can listen to them. It's very obviously her. I don't think the fact that it was her was ever disputed. She never claimed that it was a hoax.
She never claimed that?
No.
Okay.
The recordings are her. It's just how they got them doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it seems more like here's a... Okay, yeah.
So, Barry Manicky, one of Diana's bodyguards. Yeah, from a while ago, back when she was still married to old fuckface Charlie. He was, in her own words, bumped off. She said that.
He was.
Yeah, so Diana said that Barry was bumped off.
And Barry is dead.
Barry is dead.
Right.
Yeah, so direct quote from a video interview with Diana, like from the infamous Diana in her own words interview. So it was actually directly quoted from Diana. You can see her saying it. Blah, 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 blah. She's talking about Barry at this point in time. It was all found out and he was chucked out. Now, when she says chucked out, she means he was actually fired from his position.
Oh, okay. Not killed. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You did the...
No, not killed off.
Oh, right.
Right, yeah. Like, not... Yeah, when you say chucked out, sorry.
Okay.
I wasn't gesturing that we should stop recording. I was more meaning that he... When you say chucked out, he lost his job. He wasn't...
Yeah, so
he wasn't removed from life.
Or he was later.
Yeah,
so he was fired.
The confusion there came from I waved my fingers in front of my throat like someone was dying, and she thought I meant to stop recording. But no, I meant
that's
dead.
our signal.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Yeah.
So he was fired, but then not long after that, he was killed.
He was
He
doing the
was-
hand gesture again.
yeah.
But we'll keep going.
He
yeah.
was unalived.
Unalived. Right.
He was unalived. Anyway, you got me distracted. I'm just going to do the whole quote. It was quote. It was all found out, and he was chucked out. Then he was killed. I think he was bumped off, but there we are. We'll never know. End quote.
Okay.
The facts of the story is Barry was killed in a motorbike accident after a young driver called Nicola Chapp. She was 17 at the time.
Driving a Fiat?
I actually don't know what she was driving.
Oh, that would have been so
That
good.
would have been great. Sorry,
Yeah.
Fiat.
Yeah.
She was 17 at the time. She pulled out in front of him, apparently, causing him to crash.
Okay.
Nicola, however, has maintained for decades that a mysterious car dazzled her with headlights.
Oh, I love it.
Ooh. And that police pressured her into a guilty plea.
Sorry, just quickly. I'm concerned that too many drinks are making me blur this together. This is tinfoil 1.2?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I think so.
And so have we got to the... I haven't missed yet
Oh,
who we
no,
think...
it's still 1.1.
This is still 1.1,
Yeah,
right, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Still
okay.
1.1, sorry.
Right.
Yeah, I just got distracted a little bit by Barry Manicky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Manilow, yeah.
But it's alright, because we're on to the second theory in 1.1. We're on to the second theory about why she may have been murdered.
From 1.1.
Yeah.
Right,
So we're still on
yeah.
the first layer of...
Yeah.
Tinfoil.
Not 1.2?
No, yeah, it's...
It's 1.2 now.
No, it's still layer 1.
Yeah, but this
Yeah.
because you said there's two causes, two possible layer ones.
I hadn't actually looked. There's a third theory in a layer 1.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
And so we're
So
currently talking
we're
about...
just about to... This is the first one.
Right, this is still 1.1, and we're about to get into 1.2.
We're about to get into 1.2.
Okay, I'm ready.
Are you right for drinks?
I'm alright, yeah.
Okay.
If I drink more, I'm going to struggle
Okay.
to follow. Yeah.
So the second popular theory about why she may have been bumped off. The landmines theory.
Okay, cool.
Do you know about this at all?
Nah.
No. Fucking Patrick. So, in the year leading up to Diana's death...
I know about her
you
being
do?
anti-landmines and doing some anti-landminey kind of stuff. Is that related to this?
It is. Absolutely.
Right, yeah. I thought landmine was just thinking code word, but now I've actually remember seeing her in third world country. She was a bit great for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So this one's not a long one. She was obviously doing all that work for anti-landmine stuff. Apparently this angered arms dealers because landmines and arms in general are a big business.
Yeah.
So apparently even in the US, like, arms dealers making massive contributions to people that are in politics and stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So there is big money in it, genuinely.
No, I'm not arguing with that. I'm
Yeah.
I'm liking this one so far. Yeah.
So it angered the arms dealers because she was hurting their bottom line. She was already successful in one of her first attempts to get landmines banned in a certain country, hurting their profits. And apparently, the theory goes, they were concerned, where's she going to go from here? Is she going to stop at landmines? Is she going to go on to her next big thing? They were concerned that she was going to make a big thing because people really loved Diana back then.
Yeah, I guess the skeptic... So I'm liking this one so far. However, the skeptic in me goes, and I don't know, this didn't happen. Chuck a nice little couple of, like, horse heads in the bed kind of thing. Like,
Yeah, sure.
scare her out a little bit first. Yeah. But I don't know that didn't happen already, so yeah.
Well,
yeah.
one of her friends did testify that Diana was warned off the landmine thing. Although when I looked into it, it wasn't actually as interesting as it sounds, because apparently someone just said, "Oh, don't stick your nose into where you're not wanted. You don't understand it." But the way the friend made it sound was like, "Don't stick your nose in." But apparently it was just more like, "Oh, you don't really understand the politics behind
Yeah,
this."
you could... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But again, the landmine thing, I'm not hugely convinced about it. I do think it's got more logic to the whole
Maybe that's why I'm liking it
possibly
so
being
far.
pregnant
Yeah.
with a Muslim baby, and that's why someone would go to the extent of murdering me. Doesn't make sense to me. This one makes a little bit more sense to me. And also the CIA, obviously American agency, admitted to having files on Diana, but so far they refused to A, release them, or B, even talk about what or why they had her under surveillance at all.
What's this got to do with landmines?
Oh, they think it's all part and parcel because CIA is American and this is all American shite.
The landmines are American?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the dealers at any point. So, like, the landmines, obviously, she's very famous for doing landmine walking through what countries and stuff. But the dealers, American.
Right, okay.
But when it comes to CIA files on her, who knows if it was actually anything to do with landmines at all. That's just a
Yeah,
theory.
maybe
Like,
it's just someone
been,
dodgy had something to do with her and that's why she's on it. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
It could have been, anything. So that they've refused to divulge the subject at all about them.
Yeah.
So the third theory in our layer 1 tinfoil
1.3.
is, and this is the one where if I had to choose one that
Your eyebrows are pretty high right now. Yeah.
I've got excellent eyebrow control.
Yeah.
If I had to choose one that is more plausible than any of the others,
So including any level 2s and 3s?
Well, yeah, because the 2s and 3s are like cray-cray.
No, they sound great. I'm so excited for them.
This is the one that actually makes most sense to me.
Right.
And she was...
If you believe in a conspiracy of
and
this.
I don't necessarily believe she was murdered. But if let's say she was. I just found out she was, categorically, but no one knows why. This would be why, to me, she was. I'd be like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into it. And I think part of the reason why it makes so much sense to me now is...
You're really teasing this. I just want to hear it.
Sorry, I'm getting there.
Let's get into it.
Some of the goings on over the last couple of years makes it make more sense. So if you, like...
Last couple of years, currently.
Yeah, currently.
Okay.
So back in 97, this would all been a fringe theory.
Yeah.
However, apparently Diana was planning to go public with evidence of sexual abuse and paedophile rings. Epstein. Oh,
Yeah.
you're right there. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. The
Amazing.
bomb now.
I'm so proud right now.
Yeah. No, carry on.
All
Stop
right,
teasing it.
Sorry.
Go.
I've actually got into it now. I'm not teasing anymore. Evidence of sexual abuse and paedophile rings in the upper echelons of society.
I'm nodding vigorously.
He is.
Yeah.
I can see it. Including high-ranking MPs, lords, royals,
Dirty pigs.
celebrities, and more.
Nasty people.
This subject would have been...
Oh man, that's so good. I really like that one.
I like this one.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It would have been nuts back then, but over the last few years, this shit is actually just happening.
Yeah.
It's true.
And I have no doubt about it.
No, neither do I.
Yeah.
It's
So I don't know any
actually
details
true.
or who's involved, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's
so
true.
knocking her off because she Okay. Cool.
She knew about this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And too many powerful people would be all
Way
keen for
too
that
many.
to not be
And
exposed.
the problem is this subject is too much of a rabbit hole for me to fully get into in this episode because it's like...
No, it's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, it's a whole episode in itself. Like there's no... It's so deep. There's so many layers.
Oh, that's so good. Good. Oh man.
thanks.
Yeah, I think 2 and 3 are really gonna let me down now.
Well, no, this because the other ones are just like a bit dumb.
Aliens and reptilian shapeshifting overlords.
How do you know?
Is it
Yeah.
for both?
Well, maybe they're reptilians.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm disappointed now.
Just Two Pub Tom strikes again.
Oh, yeah. Fucking hell, so premature. You're like, Jesus. Anyway, I'm disappointed. There's not much more enjoyment to be had from this. The subject. Yeah. The subject itself would genuinely be too much to get into. It's massively deep. It's massively researched. It's massively based in fact.
Is this coming up in the rest of the series?
We probably will.
The series? Like, is it on the list?
It's going to be touched on, but not specifically.
Okay.
It's not.
Okay.
It's not going to be a podcast in itself.
Right.
But it should be, and
maybe a little too current to be conspiracy enough. Maybe.
Oh no, I don't think it's too current. I think it is a good one. But the thing is, it's so... The tendrils reach so far, it's impossible. It's going to be one of those things that is really hard to research because it is ongoing.
I also don't want to be not taken out because of broadcasting.
Don't think it was going to take you out.
Well, I'm a very, very
No,
well-known
maybe.
podcaster as of
Yeah.
however long you've been listening to this video.
Yeah.
Audio, thank you.
He is. It's a massive reaching conspiracy, and it's not even a conspiracy anymore. If you wanted to look more into it, please do so by researching Westminster child abuse ring, Elm House and Dolphin Square paedophile ring. These are all well-known police investigations about paedophile rings and sexual abuse in the upper echelons of society. It's a massive rabbit hole, and it's quite horrible. And it is the reason why I think this will be the most plausible reason for her to be bumped off. It's less tenuous than the whole pregnant with the Muslim baby thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that.
No, I'm right there with you on this one. Yeah. Yeah.
Landmine's a little bit more plausible, but still, it's like, eh.
Yeah, like I said, I think there could be better threats to discourage that.
This one makes sense, and when I said it makes more sense more recently, obviously, a few years ago, Jimmy Savile.
Yeah.
And then more recently, Prince Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff is just, it's actually happening. And obviously, what I said, Prince Andrew, automatically I assume that you include Epstein in that. Like, it's happening, it's happened. We know that it's true. So organised, systematic abuse and organised pedophile rings, they are happening. They have been happening for a long time. And
it doesn't have to be the whole ring that does it. It could just be one person of power in there who goes, man, I found out this. I don't want this to happen. Boom, gone.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I'm liking that conspiracy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't like it, but I can
horrible.
easily believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in 97, that would have been a fringe theory. It would have been cray-cray.
Oh, yeah, but if she'd come out and said that and started naming names.
Well, she'd have been the Sinead O'Connor of her time.
Yeah, it would have been awesome.
Well, no, she wouldn't have been believed. She'd have been called crazy like Sinead O'Connor. And now it turned out she was right the whole time.
Could have been awesome.
It could have been. It could have been. Yeah. But, yeah, we all know that these days it's probably true. Most people are like, yeah, that's just the thing that happens. You know the hacking group Anonymous?
Yep.
Yeah. So in 2020, they released a tweet. Yeah, I'm going to quote it for you. Okay, start quote. Around the time of her death, Diana was visiting hospitals and care homes Jimmy Savile had been preying on at all hours of the night. She consoled Elm House victims and recorded palace rape victim testimony. End quote. This was in response to someone saying, can you tell us why Princess Diana was killed?
So you don't know who this tweet's from, or?
No, it's because it was from Anonymous.
Yeah, okay. No, but I mean, they hacked someone else's phone, I'm assuming.
No, it was really from actually Anonymous's account.
Oh, okay, so they asked somebody and got that response?
No, this was... So someone asked Anonymous, like someone tweeted Anonymous about, like...
Oh, sorry, and Anonymous said this in response. Sorry, I'm catching up slowly. Yeah.
All right, Patrick.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Anonymous said that, and so apparently they've got evidence that that was why she was killed.
Okay.
So that's all starting to make sense in the last few years. But again, a few years ago, like prior 2020, this would have been so fringe.
Yeah. Okay.
Moving on to something lighter.
Lighter?
Yes, but also the next layer of tinfoil.
So the deeper we go, the lighter it is?
No, this one's just not as grim.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a layer of tinfoil.
Right.
And it's not a very long one.
Okay.
So it would not be a celebrity death conspiracy if there wasn't claims that she faked her own death.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Of course.
Cool. Yeah.
The theory is that, and this one never actually took off so much. You Google it, and there are a few theories about it, but it never actually took off massively, partly because there's so much evidence that she did die, and also her dying was so much more interesting than her living.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's a bit sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are a few people who think that because obviously Dodie, massively wealthy, son of a billionaire, so apparently they used all his funds to fake their death, start a new life somewhere else, and that Henri Paul didn't exist at all.
Okay.
Not even a real person.
I see. This was at level 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So they faked their own death. Then they went and got masses of plastic surgery, and now they're living. Some people say an undisclosed tropical island. Some people say they're living in Romania.
Oh yeah. Okay.
But apparently,
this goes back to the counts of the vampire thing I mentioned at the start. Yeah.
It did.
Cool.
Sorry, the vampire's actually going to make much of an entrance, unfortunately.
Is that there? That's it. And I brought him up twice.
No, I mean, there's going to be less vampires than you want. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently, those are, if you're going to go with the whole faking your death theory, those are the main ones.
Okay.
However, you know the whole QAnon.
No.
What?
What's a QAnon?
You know a QAnon?
No. Is it another British thing?
No. It's American more than anything.
Okay.
Started on do you know what 4chan is?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So it started on 4chan.
Which is a website.
Yep. And it's more American leaning. And QAnon was very pro-Trump and had a whole bunch of conspiracies that, I mean, fuck. There is so many to get into. So I won't get into too many. Apparently, one of the later ones was that, who was it? FJK was actually going to be reincarnated and turn up after Trump's defeat, and he's going to rule America with Trump by his side. I think. I actually don't know enough about QAnon.
You're losing me. Where's this going? Yeah.
It's not. I was just saying. That's what I was saying. Do you know QAnon? This was actually not relevant at all. The whole JFK thing, not relevant. I was just like, that's what QAnon. Apparently, a government insider who kept spilling things about stuff, and none of the stuff actually came to fruition. However, people that do follow QAnon, or some people that follow QAnon, believe that Princess Diana is actually secretly ruling the world now alongside Jackie Onassis.
Who's Jackie Onassis?
For fuck's sake! JFK's wife, Jackie O.
Oh,
Jackie
okay.
Kennedy.
Okay, cool.
The real styly one.
So...
You know who JFK is, right?
I know who JFK is. Yeah. So, like, what next? The audition's going to be Michelle Obama? Called it here.
Oh, maybe. Okay,
Called
sick.
it. She's of that level, eh?
All right.
Like, the world loves her.
What day is it today? Is it the 22nd of July, 2022?
22nd July, 2022, 8:09 p.m.
Okay. Heard
Michelle
it here first.
Obama is going to fake her death to rule the world.
Sick. Alongside
Diana and
Jackie O.
someone I've never heard of.
I can't believe you've never heard of Jackie Onassis.
I live on a rock, under a rock, in the bottom of the ocean.
You're really leaning up to your name.
Patrick.
Yeah.
For those that understand, Patrick is a starfish from the SpongeBob cartoon who lives under a rock at the bottom
Holy
of the
shit.
ocean.
I'm actually surprised that you knew that.
SpongeBob's great.
Yeah, I know SpongeBob's... I mean, Jackie Onassis is a great styly
Who?
icon. She was very stylish.
Okay.
You should show some more respect. One of the only aspects of this conspiracy that I actually believe in is, do you know, for fuck's sake, of course
I haven't even said anything
Yeah,
yet.
I know, but I know you don't. You know the whole Walt Disney Frozen conspiracy?
I do not.
Didn't think so. So, oh God, it's like talking to a toddler.
Should we just brush it over and come back to it later? Or
No,
you want to
I'm gonna go
mansplain
into-
the shit out of it to me?
I'm going to mansplain the shit out of it to you.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not mansplaining, because mansplaining is when you explain something
Oh,
you
cool.
actually
We're
know
doing
about
a
it.
tangent. Awesome.
Yeah, but you don't know about this, so it's just explaining. Vagina explaining, because you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, which is what most people with vaginas have to do
You could
all
just say
the time.
Womsplaining.
Wombs-
Femsplaining?
I'm happy with vagina splaining.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so Walt Disney. You've heard of
Yeah.
Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the theory that he was cryogenically frozen?
No.
Cool.
Is this another whole conspiracy we should just cover?
Yeah, but this is like 2 lines. This
Okay.
is, and it's relevant.
Okay.
It's relevant.
Okay.
So apparently the conspiracy goes, or it is not even a conspiracy, like there's no nefarious reasons to it. Walt Disney was cryogenically frozen when he died,
Okay.
so that years later, when they've got the right technology, they can
Bring him back. Cool.
resurrect him.
Yeah.
So apparently, when they made and released the movie Frozen, I know you've seen that,
Yeah.
they actually named it Frozen so that when you Google Disney Frozen,
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. That's really nice. Yeah.
and the reason why that's
Not Disney cryogenics, but
no,
whatever.
Disney Frozen,
Next cartoon. What's the date? What did I just say? 22nd July. Disney cryogenic.
Disney Cryogenics coming to
Yeah.
a theatre near you.
Yeah.
So if you Google Diana Fate and Death, do you know what comes up?
What?
A fictional book written by some bitch about, it's like a fictional retelling of what might have happened if Diana had faked her own death and moved to a small Midwestern American town and found love. So when you Google Diana faked her own death these days, that is all the main big hits. this book that this Broad wrote. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why the whole Disney conspiracy thing came in, because I was like, this is suspicious.
I just tried to use my phone to Google this to see if it would come up.
Yeah?
As soon as I took it off airplane mode, my headphones just went crazy.
Oh, okay.
Popping and cracking.
You can Google it later.
Yeah, I'll Google it later. Yeah.
You ready for layer 3?
Oh, man. Well, I blew my load on this one already, didn't I?
You didn't get very excited. Well, okay. Yeah, prematurely. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You right for a drink?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
I got a lot here.
This is our final layer of tinfoil.
Mm-hmm.
Are you ready for the subject?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, wait, hang on a second.
Yeah.
Why don't you take a guess?
Why? I thought I already did. Reptilian shape-shifting overlords.
Oh, there's only one tiny aspect.
Sorry, you want me to guess why I think they wanted her dead?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, do it.
Okay. Because something to kind of just be vague, something to do with the sun.
Ooh, close, but also not close because it's actually the opposite.
Okay, the moon.
Yeah. How'd you know?
I wouldn't call that the opposite.
You actually looked at my notes, didn't you?
I can't read upside down your pen scratch.
Did you look
chicken
at
scratch?
my chicken scratch? I've got fantastic handwriting. Anyway, now you've ruined my...
You told me to guess.
You've ruined my intro.
Hit me for it. Go.
Diana. This is just the title
we're at
of
level,
the chapter.
We're level 3.
This is just the title of the chapter. Diana was ritualistically sacrificed because she is the earthly incantation of the goddess Diana, one of the major goddesses worshipped in ancient Rome.
Is that it?
That's the title, yeah.
Oh, that's the title.
Yeah, the title. That's just the title.
Okay.
What do you think of that title?
Could you say it again slowly?
Yeah. Diana was ritualistically sacrificed because she is the earthly incantation of the goddess Diana, one of the major gods/goddesses worshipped in ancient Rome.
Okay.
You don't seem suitably like, what the fuck?
No, I'm like, I can understand some nutter doing this.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, the goddess Diana, actual goddess.
Okay.
This is all true fact.
Yeah.
Diana, suspiciously named after her.
Mm-hmm.
Very suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
She was a major goddess worshipped in what was now known as Rome.
Mm-hmm.
But back she's so ancient, it was back then it was like not necessarily Rome.
Mm.
Or sort of like around what is now known as modern Europe.
Yeah.
She had many temples dedicated to her, mainly centered around what is modern day Italy, but also further reaching. Diana was the goddess of the hunt, the moon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Fertility.
I knew a little bit of that.
How?
Well, the hunt side of it. Like pop culture. Not conspiracy, yeah.
All right. Fertility,
Yeah.
childbirth, and family, and the woods. So she was...
So if she died in the woods, this would have been better, but okay. Childbirth was a nice little tie-in, but yeah, all right.
It would be better if she died in the woods, but it's all right. We'll get on to that.
Okay.
Um,
Sort that out for the next one, would you?
modern day, in terms of worship of goddess Diana. So to make it clearer, I'm going to I'll refer to it as goddess Diana, meaning the actual goddess Diana, who is an actual goddess.
And Princess Diana?
And Princess Diana.
Right, yeah.
They're both real figures. Well, I mean, goddess Diana, not necessarily, but they did actually used to worship her. It's a bit like saying Jehovah. Modern day, goddess Diana is still worshipped, although obviously to a much lesser extent, by neo-pagans and Wiccans. Paris itself was actually partially founded by the Merovingians under the rule of Clovis in the early 6th century.
There's a lot of historical information I'm lacking there to understand what was said, but okay.
Okay, so the Merovingians, ancient royal family. There's a lot of conspiracies
Merovingians or Merovingians?
Merovingians.
Okay.
A lot of conspiracies about them. We'll go into some of those a bit later.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm going to chuck reptilian shape-shifting overlords at them straight away.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Are they going to be layer 1 for that one?
Fuck you.
Are they actually in season 1?
Yeah, they're here. They're like, the next page, you piece of shit.
Just blowing my load all over the place.
Nothing new here. So apparently the Pont de Alma tunnel, which is obviously where Diana died, and this I cannot find any evidence of, so I'm just going to be right up front about that right now.
100% solid fact. Got it.
Yeah. So prior to that, Merovingians, actual fact, Diana was a goddess, actual fact. Pont de Alma Tunnel was apparently built on the site of an ancient temple to Diana. I can't find any evidence that there was a temple right in that particular...
No, I saw it in the Da Vinci Code. It's a fact. Carry on.
Thank you. Okay, cool. I am not French.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was trying to research this, it was actually quite difficult. I was trying to research tombs and temples and any sites that have anything to do with Merovingians. And I couldn't, but I'm not French, so there could be. So I'm not saying there aren't.
Yeah.
But I couldn't actually
Too
find...
hard basket.
It was too hard basket. So when you actually Google the etymology and the history of the Pont de Alma Tunnel, the reason why it was built and the reason why it was called as such, it was actually... it was named after the Battle of Alma in the Crimean War. So obviously a long time after Godstown was supposed to be around. This was like in the 1800s. So Pont just means bridge. Some conspiracy theorists say that Alma means soul, which means tunnel of the soul. But all I can find is that it is named after the Battle of Alma, Alma being a geographical location in the Crimean War. So... unsure about that. I can't say yes or no on that. Apparently, though, if we're going to just pretend that yes, it was a sacred temple to Diana, worshipped by the Merovingians, they practiced ritual sacrifice there. So Diana, with her royal lineage, remember she was actually already nobility before she married Charles, and actually distant related to him. They share some of the same very ancient bloodlines. She wasn't like his cousin or anything, but they share the same very ancient bloodlines back to the Merovingians, apparently. She was chosen ahead of time to bear the royal fruit, Wills and Harry, and then once she was of no more use, she was sacrificed as part of a blood ritual to the ancient religions that apparently the elite, including the monarchy, still secretly serve.
Okay. Cool.
This is where you start getting into, and it gets way too in depth. This is where you can start getting into like Masonic rituals and Illuminati and stuff like that. So again, too much to get into in one podcast because this is just about Diana. This is not about all that other stuff.
Yeah.
But the reason they secretly still serve them, because obviously outwardly they're all mainly Christian based, but secretly they still serve them because they are descended.
I love the pause. Yeah.
From reptilian aliens. There you go. I knew you were.
Were they shape-shifting?
Obviously, they're shape-shifting.
Oh, you just said reptilian aliens. I thought
yeah, but they originated from reptilian. The shape-shifting doesn't come till later.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So they are descended from reptilian aliens from the Alpha Draconis star system.
Alpha Draconis?
Yeah.
Man.
Obviously.
I saw that in D&D, yeah.
Sick.
Sick. I'm going to marry that man because he likes D&D.
Some people think that the Merovingians, and you just mentioned before about Da Vinci Code.
Yeah.
Some people think the Merovingians and the descendants, including Diana and the royal family, are actually descended from Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ!
However,
yeah.
David Icke. Really?
Yeah.
He's shaking his head no. I actually went to see David Icke live once at Brixton.
I don't know who it is to respond.
Oh, he's a massive
in Brixton.
Not Brixton, New Plymouth. Brixton, London.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're 12 people.
No, the O2 Arena, Brixton, London.
Okay.
Not like the 12 people that live in Brixton.
So I just carry on
Plymouth.
assuming my audience,
all right.
our audience, know who they are.
I assume that most of you know who David Icke is. David.
One sentence recap. Who is he?
No, well, you've ruined it now.
Is he a conspiracist?
Because he is a conspiracist.
Okay, cool. Big famous one.
The problem is,
there
is a conspiracy that the Merovingians and like later bloodlines, including the St. Clair bloodline, descended from Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
David Icke says it's a massive conspiracy, and if David Icke, king of conspiracies, says that's a massive conspiracy, it's a fucking conspiracy. So he says, hang on a second, getting
does
there.
Conspiracy mean fact or fiction though?
Obviously fact.
Oh, okay.
No, obviously the opposite. Yeah. So David Icke says that the conspiracy that this bloodline is traced back to Jesus is a massive conspiracy. And
so he says a conspiracy is a conspiracy.
Yes.
Right.
And that actually, that bloodline...
So the lies are lies.
The lies are lies.
Yeah.
The bloodline is actually far more nefarious than coming from Jesus Christ.
Oh, nice use of nefarious. As
Thank you. They're actually shape-shifting aliens.
Yes.
You're waiting for it, weren't you?
Is every single episode going to end with this?
No.
Can it?
I
don't grasp at straws. Boom, I'm hooked. This is where I'm going.
I can force it in.
Never mind the pedophilia. Never mind the pedophilia rings. Like, I believe that. We're going shape-shifting overlords that are reptilian.
I can try and work it into every conspiracy if you like.
No, that's right. I'll work it in. It's fine.
You genuinely do.
Yeah.
So David Icke thinks that it's a conspiracy that people think that the Merovingians are related to Jesus Christ, and they're actually shape-shifting lizards.
David Icke sounds like a good guy.
I've seen him with my actual own eyes.
By choice?
No.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Not by
Did
choice.
Epstein make you when you were 12?
No, just my ex-boyfriend.
Oh, cool.
We'll talk about it later.
Is that a conspiracy?
Not really.
Oh, damn.
No. Yeah, he insists that Diana was the moon goddess and was sacrificed as the moon goddess in this tunnel for these reasons. And actually, she is supposed to be, according to Ike, the opposite in terms of male and female being opposite. So, like, male and female in terms of these religions have a counterpoint to each other, and without which you can't have balance.
Yeah.
JFK was the male counterpoint to this, and his ritualistic murder was the ritualistic murder of the sun god.
Okay.
And Diana's ritualistic murder was that of the moon goddess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what he thinks, and that is very interesting. But I also think that in terms of the reptilians, kind of makes sense.
I don't have enough facts to argue that
right.
last one. No, but I mean, I'm not saying it's
Right.
wrong.
Who's the current Queen of England?
Elizabeth.
Shorten Elizabeth.
E.
No, Liz.
Oh, sorry. Carry on, yeah.
Liz. Lizard.
Silence. No, I'm following, and just now you're grasping at straws. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, it is an actual fact. Moving on from things that are not facts at all.
Yeah.
This is an actual fact. The Mercedes crashed into the 13th pillar.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Not a coincidence, is it?
How's that a coincidence? What's that got to do
Because
with
13 in paganism is a sacred number. It's related to the sacred feminine or female goddess, of which Diana was supposedly, because moon goddess, moon feminine.
13?
Yeah.
There's no connection. Right?
There is actually a connection.
No, but I mean, when I said 13, like it was obvious, it wasn't obvious to me.
Oh, no, there is actually genuinely a connection.
Yeah,
I'm not saying but there is actually a connection.
Yeah.
Particularly because in the pagan lunar cycle is actually 13 months. So 13 has got a connection to the feminine cycle.
Okay.
So, 13, for various different reasons, is a sacred number in paganism. Mm-hmm. And particularly to the sacred feminine, or the female goddess. And in this theory, Diana is a representation of the sacred feminine or female goddess.
Okay.
Because she's a moon goddess and goddess of the hunt.
Okay.
All of that.
Yeah.
So,
I was having struggling to rule this out because I don't know if reptilian rape shifting, shape shifting overlords exist or not. And some crazy form of sacrifice, because I can believe a lot of absolute power corrupts. That saying crashing into the 13th pillar was the requirement. The tunnel was a relation. Okay.
The Pont de Alma tunnel.
Yeah.
Which was the site of the goddess Diana.
Yeah.
I think you're forgetting that.
No, I didn't forget that.
Oh, hang on. We haven't gone through the other occult symbols relating to Diana and her death yet.
Oh, sorry. Carry on.
So, other occult symbols relating to Diana and her death. The rose. As in the flower. That is also a symbol of the sacred feminine.
And the relation is?
Well, because Diana was very much equated to the rose. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I mean, even one of her memorials, like one of her official memorials in London, is the Cinquefoil, which is the five.
What?
It's a French word.
That has something to do with the car that killed her? What did you say?
No. You're thinking of Cinquecento, which
No,
is
no.
my car. I'm saying
no relation to the story.
Cinquefoil, which is
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah.
which means five.
That's why I asked you to repeat. Sorry, I thought
petaled rose or whatever it means.
Yeah,
like
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, the real conspiracy. Whatever,
Yeah.
just cover it
It's a-
up. Fine.
Fiat Uno, which means one.
Yeah.
I had a Fiat Cinquecento, which means fivento.
Good job, Patrick.
Thank you. Yeah, Diana was symbolized by the rose, which has gone back a long time in history as a symbol to the sacred feminine, including it's supposed to be a symbol of Mary Magdalene and also the Virgin Mary. So there is also another symbol, the flame, and there is a sculpture of a flame by the Pont de Alma tunnel, just above the tunnel, that sits
6 kilometers away.
No, right, like literally right
Oh,
there.
okay. Sorry, my mistake.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
And it was actually put in place before Diana died, but because how close it was to the tunnel after the accident, it became like an unofficial shrine to her. And interesting about this is it's a flame, which is apparently an occult symbol, and the flame is mounted on a black pentagram.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And that's about all the relevancy that one has. But it was installed years before her death, like 5 years or something.
Okay. Yeah.
So
When the
obviously,
plan started.
yeah,
Yeah.
obviously they were planning
Yeah.
the whole time. They were like planning from her birth.
Obviously. Yeah. 5 years ago.
But the rose symbol pops up in a lot of memorials to her, such as as we discussed, on her memorial walk. There are plaques with roses on the pavement and stuff, and her memorial garden in Paris, and also when the Royal Mint released her memorial coin, it had a rose on it, and the flame symbology and the rose symbology also. If you're gonna be like real dumb about it, Elton John sang at her funeral, and he sang "Candle in the Wind," which he originally wrote for Marilyn Monroe, and he wasn't going to sing it at her funeral, at Diana's funeral, but at the pressuring of the Dean of Westminster, he actually changed the words around and sang it at her funeral, and he changed the first line, which used to be "Goodbye Norma Jean," because that was apparently Marilyn Monroe's nickname or something.
Okay.
"Goodbye England's Rose." So
Right.
in that song, pressured from people for unknown reasons, it's got both rose and the flame symbology, because Candle in the Wind are getting snuffed out.
Okay, it sounds like a nice connection to me. Yeah.
It's a nice connection,
Yeah.
very tenuous.
Right.
But back to the whole Goddess Diana thing.
Yep.
Princess Diana's actual grave.
Yeah.
So she was buried far away from the public eye.
Okay.
She was buried on her family's estate, the Althorpe estate.
Not suspicious. Yep.
Not so far.
No.
She was buried on an island in the middle of an ornamental lake.
Cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
There is a flaming torch on her tombstone.
Oh yeah. What powers it? Is it still flaming?
No, it's just like a sculpture of a flaming torch.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I thought
Yeah,
the
but
actual flames for life had been called or
literally
whatever.
just discussed the symbology of the flame.
No, I understand that, but I thought you actually meant there was a torch that was flaming on her tombstone store. I was like, how'd they get the... I understand. Carry on.
Cool. So back to the goddess Diana.
Yeah.
It's a goddess, not princess. Goddess Diana had a sacred grove at Nemi, which is a real place,
Yeah.
a real temple, in Italy. It's an actual place sort of on the banks of a lake in Rome. Now, I can't remember what the actual name of the lake is in modern day, but back in those days, they called the lake Diana's Mirror, and it's surrounded by a forest. Forests were sacred to the goddess Diana. And the grove itself, the actual temple, in its center was a sacred oak tree. Now, apparently the legend goes that the only person that could be a priest of Diana's temple was an ex-convict, and he had to no one's allowed to actually touch it. Sorry, I go back. No one's allowed to touch this oak tree, apart from someone who was going to fight for the right of priesthood, and you could only do that if you were a convict.
Okay.
And they were allowed to rip off a bough of the oak tree and fight to the death of the last priest.
And fight to the death of the last priest.
Yeah, so the current priest.
Yeah, fights the new priest.
Fights the new priest.
Or potential priest. Sorry, yeah, okay, yeah.
So that's the only time you're allowed to touch this oak tree is if you're about to fight the other priest to the death.
Yeah.
So Princess Diana's actual grave is surrounded by oak trees.
Yeah.
And her grave's in an ornamental lake, which apparently mirrors the lake of Goddess Diana's mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds tenuous.
Yeah, I'm waiting for some form of me going, oh, I can see this. Yeah.
There isn't really. It's just there's like the whole oak trees, actual lake. Her name is actually Diana.
Is it speculative that it's the exact same lake?
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's supposed to be a tribute to the goddess Diana.
The artificial lake?
Yeah, no, well, the whole thing is supposed to be a tribute to the goddess Diana. The whole, like, Princess Diana, namesake, getting murdered in that way, and then buried in a place that is a mirror image of goddess Diana's temple. Is supposed to be she's not supposed to be the goddess Diana. She's supposed to be
no, but just all like because some pagan ritual I don't understand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So the actual Princess Diana's grave is surrounded by 36 oak trees.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get very finicky, eagle-eared conspiracists, I should say, also noted that at Diana's funeral, her brother, the current Earl Spencer, made reference to her being the most hunted person in the world. Which, if you're a conspiracy theorist...
Diana was a huntress?
Yes.
Okay.
Reference to Diana the huntress.
Yeah.
And last year, in 2021, I don't know if you remember seeing it in the news, a statue of Diana that was commissioned by her sons was unveiled in the UK.
Yeah, okay.
On what would have been her 60th birthday. It was attended by 13 guests. 13. Just
because like the pillars.
Yeah. 13.
Okay, yeah.
And white flowers, including roses, were planted around it. So white suggests purity because I don't think I mentioned before, but the goddess Diana, goddess of the hunt, goddess of the moon, goddess of fertility and childbirth, despite the fact that she was goddess of fertility and childbirth, she was also a virgin. So purity is one of her symbols.
But Diana wasn't.
Well, not Princess Diana.
No.
No, but
no.
At this point, she'd been sacrificed as a pagan goddess.
Okay.
Keep her up, for fuck's sake. And that was about it for her death. But how do you rate that?
I'm liking the pedophile ring story. That seems.
I think that's...
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that one. There's some like I can't even remember what stage 2 was. What?
Landmines.
Right. Yeah. That one I found reptilian shapeshifting overlords even more believable than landmines.
What about the faking her own death?
If Michelle Obama dies, then I'll start jumping on board that one a bit more. Yeah.
Pregnant with a Dodie's baby.
Yeah, I can see that's why it won, but once again, pedophile ring smashes that out of the park.
I think so too. Like that makes sense. Like that's a reason why people would kill people.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a real, especially
a lot of people would kill people.
Yeah, well, because it's like kind of historically, very recently happened.
It's happened.
Yeah, so
it's still happening.
Good cause. Yeah.
I think so.
I'd be. I mean, I guess if any listeners are listening to this anywhere that you can leave a comment.
Hi, Mum.
If she knows how to leave a comment, it'd be.
She'll probably just message me on Messenger.
It'd be interesting to hear some speculative reasons about maybe there's some bit of conspiracy that we're not aware of with this. That would be good to find out.
Actually, Mum, you can ask me a question.
Yeah.
When I was going to message you when I was reading into the whole dude who looked into Diana's womb. And she was only a few weeks pregnant, and they're like, well, if there was anything, it'd be like 4 millimeters long.
Hannah's mum's a midwife.
Yeah, my mum's a midwife.
Yeah.
if you were to look at someone's womb and they're only that much pregnant, so I understand that the fertilized egg or fetus or whatever you call it, only be tiny, but would there be other changes to the womb that could signify that there is a pregnancy? Would it be bigger, or
there's like a wall lining change or something
look
like that?
Different, or are you just looking for like a tiny little grain of rice embedded in it? Let me know.
But if you're on the pedophile ring train, that pregnancy doesn't have much of a difference to it, does it? Doesn't affect it.
Just
no.
Something that I thought of earlier, and I was curious. But I think the pedophile thing is the most plausible.
Yeah. And then reptilian shapeshifting overlords.
And then reptilian shapeshifting overlords,
For me,
because obviously, why would you not want to?
I just don't know enough. I can't disprove them. I can't disprove any of them.
I can't disprove any of them either. You want to know another little conspiracy tidbit?
Sure.
Okay, so apparently...
Oh, geez, here we go. Episode 2. Go!
It's not episode 2. It's like going to be like 4 minutes, don't worry.
Yeah.
Darling listeners. Mother. Apparently there is a daughter. Older.
Oh, wait. Can I guess her name?
Yeah?
Hannah.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's my name.
Yeah, I know. That's why I went there.
No, this is an actual conspiracy.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So her name's Sarah.
Yeah.
Not my Sarah.
Yeah.
I said my best friend Sarah.
Yeah.
Not that one.
Yeah.
She is Princess Diana and Prince Charles's daughter, and she's older than William and Harry.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So apparently, and this is absolute bunkum, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was released
This is stage 4 tinfoil hat.
It was released in some real, I can't even remember which newspaper it was released in the UK many years ago. Absolute shit. But apparently, when Diana got engaged to Charles, she had to go to see a lady parts doctor. What are they called again?
Gyno?
Yeah. And he would do all these tests on her.
Patrick.
Thank you, Patrick. And apparently part of this procedure is he tested her eggs to make sure she was fertile. Now, this is not actually how they test your eggs. That's ridiculous. To actually extract your eggs, that is a massive thing in itself.
Yeah.
Massive thing in itself, like a whole procedure.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know. But apparently he tested her fertility, took some eggs, and they were kept on ice.
Oh, yeah, this is good. Yeah.
And then he implanted them into his wife.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because they couldn't get pregnant. So now Prince...
I'm rubbing my face at this one.
So Prince Charles and Princess Diana actually have a full blood, full royal girl baby that's older than Prince William.
You're right.
Running around the United States somewhere. Because this dude took some eggs to test her fertility, because that makes total sense.
Right. Okay. So is that our conclusion? It's
not. Yeah, it's our conclusion of all the stories. But now I have to ask you to please rate it in terms of tinfoil hats.
So when
1 to 5. 1 meaning, fuck no, this is ridiculous. 5 meaning, absolutely massive conspiracy.
So which conspiracy am I rating?
Okay, I'll ask you.
Okay.
Was she murdered? Rate it on a conspiracy of 1 to 5 tinfoil hats.
Oh man, big giant science in a podcast. I don't want to think about it. 3.5.
3.5. Ooh.
Yeah, and so 5 is definite, and 1 is hell no.
Yeah.
Okay, 3.5.
Okay, was she pregnant?
1.5.
I see.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So I get the feeling that you're basing this on her knowing about the pedophiles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's
yeah.
Yeah. So the landmines, that's like a 1.5 as well, or a 1.
Yeah.
The princess, the goddess Diana.
That's higher. 2.
Faked her own death.
Faked her own death. Like 0, 1, whatever the lowest is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the lowest. Yeah.
Jolly good.
Yeah. But also, quality prediction.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. Michelle dies.
And the fact that
that's a massive compliment to Michelle. Not that I know a huge amount about it, but she seems like a Princess Diana level of good person.
She seems like a good person. Yeah.
So we're done.
We are done. Thank you for bringing your Patrickness to the table tonight. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you to everyone for listening to the very first episode of the Tinfoil Tavern.
Thank you, my parents.
My name's Thomas. That's been Hannah. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, if you can leave comments. I don't know where this is going to be.
Yeah, not that we know where we're uploading this. Leave a comment if we eventually upload it.
Or flick us a message, because you're our family.
You can just turn up, most of you have keys to my house.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries. We'll see you next time.